Panago Pizza presents SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Well, okay, before we do anything, before we break anything down.
Break down in tears.
Before we break down Pittsburgh, actually making a good trade. Oh, it's
I don't
depressing.
believe it.
It's depressing.
It's a lie.
Let's
so
talk
weird
about
of them.
Yeah, I know. It's like they tease us. They're like, we're going to be betting now. Here's the deal. We've got a huge event next Saturday. This is a big thing. Steve, you want to explain because it's about Easter seals.
November 2nd, damn it, for the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic. November 2nd, charity! Charity, damn it! Are you ready for so much giving?
There you go.
So you get to people get to show up and own you at NHL on the big screen.
Or get owned! You want to be taught a lesson? You want to be taught a lesson, folks?
What happens to the first person that actually loses to Steve at Chell?
Oh.
The exact same as what happens to the second and third and fourth person who loses to Steve at Chell. You're all going down.
So you get to play Steve.
November 2nd, you get to lose to Steve. You get the privilege. November 2nd at Scotiabank Theatre from 2 to 5 p.m. We're going to be streaming NHL 20 live. Yes, it will be streamed on my YouTube channel if you're not from the GTA. If you are from the GTA, or if you're willing to drive or fly or perhaps take a boat, kayak maybe even, you're going to get your ass to the Scotiabank Theatre, 2 to 5 p.m. Tickets are $20.69. I did that just because of the sex number. Get a ticket. So,
And Adam and myself will be there.
Yes, we'll be there.
yeah, who cares? Adam and Jesse will be there. Chris Johnson said he might make an appearance.
Oh.
He's on another popular television show that night. It's called Hockey Night in Canada.
Never heard of it.
I don't know if you, well, working on some others, but the important people that I want there is you. And I intentionally got the biggest theater possible. We got 370 seats. So I want to pack the damn building to stream NHL 20. All the money, all of it is going to Easter Seals. All of it.
Yeah, a lot of people were confused about that. Your ticket is your donation. So you're
ticket
not
is
coming
your
here
donation.
to donate. You're just buying the ticket, and that's your donation.
Yes,
But you can also donate on top of that.
But you can also donate.
Yes.
Jesse, you're going to be like refreshing the donation page and all that.
Sure, yeah.
The tip jar will be enabled on the stream, so if you want to do that, you can do that as well. We have a donor. So we're obviously going to be accepting donations all throughout in several forms. There's going to be an auction. I'm going to be auctioning off one of my Dangle jerseys.
Ooh.
At least one. I think I'm going to do more. And also, because he doesn't want it anymore, the Montreal Canadiens 69 Jerkshire jersey is on the table.
Can I add a jersey to that?
Would you like to?
I have a jersey in my closet. It's a Jonas Gustafsson jersey.
Whoa.
And Jesse Blake will sign it.
No, Steve will sign it.
I will sign it.
Adam will sign it.
Adam will sign it.
Do I need to sign
We'll
it?
all sign it with 69 at the end of our names.
Yeah.
You'll get that Jonas Gustafsson jersey.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. All proceeds are going to go to Easter Seals Ontario. That's a charity that helps kids with physical disabilities. We're going to put a link down below for tickets. Now, here's the thing. And here's where you get
Or
to
if you
pick.
can't click the link, where do you go? What's the website?
It's my pinned tweet right now is a video of me talking about the event with the link.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So I changed my pinned tweet. It still all goes towards Easter Seals. Here's how you kick double the amount of ass. So if you get a ticket, if you make a donation during the stream, if you buy one of the auction items, we have a donor who is going to match every dollar that we raise for this thing. So if we make 10 grand off of this thing, guess what? 20 grand.
Wow.
Guess
All right.
what? That's that. What was the other one? Why not?
There you go.
Why not? Come on down November 2nd, Scotiabank Theatre, 2 to 5 p.m. We got, where's the...
Well, and here's the thing. As part of you haven't mentioned that. Okay, so as part of
What
this
haven't I mentioned?
is you get to play with Steve. You get to play hockey with Steve.
Yeah, with or against.
Or against.
It's up to you. We're going to be... Oh, yeah, sorry. That's the whole point.
Right.
We're going to be auctioning off spots to play either with or against me.
Right.
I was thinking threes, but, like, we'll be flexible. I mean, if you spend enough money, I'll be like, yes, I will play ones with you.
Yeah, whatever.
Sure.
Whatever.
Yeah, of course.
And just like in real life, Steve
we'll kick your ass.
has only made room for himself to play. Meaning he will not pass us the controller, Jesse.
Oh my God.
We
Why
are not
would
on
I?
the table.
Why would I? You gotta have the best one of us
It's
play.
crazy that you made this event just for you to play all of the games.
I know.
It's not like anybody else there could play.
If someone wants to play Jesse Blake and they
no,
win it,
I don't know. That's not on the table.
Yeah, no.
It's
The
not on
event
the
is
table?
the
'Cause Steve
Steve
didn't
Dangle
pass-
plays Chell event.
Because he
Great.
won't pass the controller like the puck.
Yeah.
I
Right?
will not. I will not. I'll Cal McCarr it and just my own end, neutral zone, other zone, friggin' goal.
Maybe we should have we should have like line bets on this too for charity.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what's the over under on Steve showing up in clothes that he did not pay for?
Okay.
What's the over under on
Side bets?
yeah,
Side
for
bets?
people at home.
do
You know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
We should come up with some stuff. So if you got any suggestions, leave them in the comments.
Oh, and the whole thing, all the best plays, because you know I'm going to have a lot of really good plays because I'm sick, Jill. It's all going to be gift by my new favorite GIF account, Tic Tac
Yeah.
Tomar. I've been calling him the wrong thing this whole time.
Tic Tac Tomar.
I've been calling Tic Tac Omar because I know his name is Omar. Tic Tac Tomar.
Right.
So he's going to give all the givable moments and all that. November 2nd, 2 to 5 p.m., Scotiabank Theater. Link down below or in my pinned tweet. Get a damn ticket.
That's fun.
Get
It's
a
gonna,
damn
be a
ticket.
good, it's gonna be a good time.
I've sort of ran out of steam there.
I
It's
think-
going to be a great time.
The title of the show will be Get a Damn Ticket.
Get a damn ticket.
Because
Now,
Also, shout out Colby Armstrong for making a donation. I saw in my email just before I arrived. Shout out Arm Dog. Hashtag Team Unit.
actually,
Remember
I want to shout out Nick Gould who donated like what was it like
Oh my
$1,000 to me
Nick
and
Gould,
500 to someone else and
Heart of Gould. Yes. So
Crazy.
Easter Seals and I are reaching out to that individual to find out who they are on account of in total between donations to me and you and Jesse and I think Mike Stevens and Harrison Brown as well.
and our friend TJ. He
and
also got some
TJ.
nickel donations.
He's donated $8,000.
wow.
Yeah. So Nick Gould is a G. That's a lot of money.
Capital G.
Yeah,
Holy.
capital G, and that makes a big difference in the lives
Huge.
of very many people. So if you want to be like Nick Gould, all it costs is $20 and the sex number.
I am 50% of the way to my goal, which is, it's funny because I checked it online and my goal is 69, 69, 69. However, Easter Seals in my email, every time I get a donation, I get an email. They've rounded it up to 69, 70 because they're mature people.
Oh,
And I think that's wrong. That's wrong. Who do
don't
I
give Adam
complain
a
to?
cent more.
But Tracy Tariska was the latest person to donate to me. It was just this afternoon, and I am I'm exactly 50% of my way to the goal. Which I have to be honest with you, I was like, that is ambitious. That's a lot of money.
Isn't that more than you raised last year?
Oh, it's double what I've raised. Like I think
Oh
I
my
raised
God.
$2,000 last year, so I'm already $1,500 ahead of that.
And you and Jesse are like neck and neck.
Are we?
I think so.
Great.
I have closed down my donations.
Are you done?
I want our donations to go to Steve now.
No!
I think that makes sense.
So I've already reached my goal, so I'm very satisfied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to reach mine, so please
So
keep
I think
donating.
help the other guys reach
I'm
their
still
goals.
trying to get to 50 grand. I think
Exactly.
I'm at 30. I'm almost at 35.
There you go.
So that's pretty good. And we got a couple weeks left. But the big one is November 2nd.
Amazing. All right, now it's time to find out who wore the crown. It's brought to you by Crown Royal. Why not pour yourself and a friend? Excuse me, Steve. Why not
Why not?
pour yourself a friend a Crown Royal? Because hey, listen, we're going to talk about who wore the crown. Where we, with the help of you, recognize one Leaf player from each game on each show who gives their all for the blue and white because it's our town, it's our crown. It's not about what you have, but about what you give. And we've been talking about charity. That's fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's crown a Leaf who lives generously by giving it all for the team, as hard as that might be, given the last two games. Brought to you by our friends at Crown Royal. Live generously, and life will treat you royally. Let us get into it. Steve Dangle, kick us off.
I think Muzz Lightyear to the rescue. He has been the only noticeable Leaf. Yeah, he was on the ice for a couple of those odd man rushes or whatever for Montreal, but he single-handedly dragged the team back into the San Jose game. He dragged the team somehow back into that Montreal game. Actually made it look like they were going to pick up points for a second. Got to give it to Jake Muzzin. Holy shit, extend that guy right away.
I am also going to give it to Jake Muzzin. And the reason, all the reasons Steve mentioned, but I'm also going to give it something else. When Jake Muzzin arrived here, it was under a cloud. Remember, there was the whole thing about him not being a right-handed shot.
Well,
Babs
who
even
caused that cloud?
That would have been Mike Babcock.
Yeah.
And, and I think the Leafs were, quite frankly, at the end of the season, they looked a lot like they look right now, just all over the place and rocky. And he came in and looked really good. But I think that a training camp and, not being traded midseason, the fact that the Leafs were able to get him, and I think it was Mike J. Stevens who said this on Twitter, or it was by Mike Stevens, whatever. One of the Mike Stevenses.
How are there two Mike Stevens?
I know,
right?
I know. Mike Stevens basically said, the fact that they were able to get him without giving up a roster player is unbelievable. Now, Sean Jersey might become a great player in Los Angeles. Carl Grundstrom looks like he's fine.
Yep.
We thought he'd be fine. We thought he would be, in a second rounder. So you never know. But for what the Leafs needed and for what the Leafs gave, what a pickup, what a guy, and is the only physical presence on a team that, dare I say, and we could get into this later, maybe needs it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, we're getting into it later.
Jesse.
When you walk into a store and you buy something, you go to the cash register, you do your debit, you do your credit, you do your cash, whichever one you want.
Yeah, you pay for it 3 different ways. Make the
one of the
clerk
3
hate you.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after you do that, you pay for your item. What do you get?
An item.
You get your item, and then what do you get?
Out of the store.
A receipt.
Thank you, Adam.
Oh.
Thank you for understanding.
Yes.
I'm following.
You get a receipt.
A receipt.
So, my crown, in part, goes to the STP listeners because they keep giving me the receipts. The receipts on why William Nylander deserves the crown.
Oh, all right.
this one.
Are they tweeting at you now? and
Each
saying,
week now, after every episode, I get tagged in a whole bunch of William Nylander tweets onto why he was clearly the best player on the ice every single game.
Okay.
Do you remember Riley's goal from Friday?
I do.
That little beautiful one-timer?
Which is rare for him. It's usually like just throwing a muffin at the wall.
Right?
Oh, my God.
One-timers are not his thing. Weak shots are his thing.
I love Mo. Maybe it's time for Riley to be there. Not Riley, sorry, Barry.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for Barry to be on PP1.
Do you know who fed him that puck?
Who fed him that puck?
William Nylander. William Nylander skated the puck through all 3 zones, made a gorgeous pass to Riley, and not a single commentator mentioned him on that play.
No, isn't that funny?
It was ridiculous.
That's funny. I thought I was crazy.
Okay.
I'm like, because I watched that play. I was like, holy shit, Nylander. And then they're like, wow, Morgan. That's more of that Morgan Riley leadership. Quality. Wow, with the skating and the shooting and wow. And I'm like,
Joe Bowen did.
Nylander. Well, yeah, but no one hears Joe because he's just on the radio.
Right.
Right.
And no offense, Joe, come back to TV, please. I think
They've been doing a good job with the clips. The
oh
digital
my God, they're the
clips.
best.
Yeah.
They're the best. But Joe needs to be on TV for the least the local games. I understand not the national ones. He's our guy. But I think the thing with that, honestly, like when can we just admit? Like when can everybody just admit that they just hate him? Like it's just there's just a general dislike for this guy
From a certain group.
But that's
it
the group
seems.
that's doing the taste making.
Yeah.
Right? That's the group that's on TV.
Yeah.
The taste making?
Yeah, they're the influencers.
Tastemakers, yeah.
Oh, I've never heard
You
that
never heard
term in my
tastemakers?
life.
Oh,
No.
well, that's essentially the people that lead the charge in the conversation, right?
Oh, okay.
That what your uncle rhymes back to you the next day at work. You know what I mean? Like when you're going into work the next day, your uncle calls and they're like, Steve, they say it's Uncle Rocky. I don't know what his opinions on hockey are.
Uncle
say
Rocky?
Uncle Rocky. He's
I
got an
have
Uncle
Uncle
Rocky.
Rocky.
Yeah. So he's got an Uncle Rocky, and Steve's driving in to do the podcast, and the Leafs have played the night before. Uncle Rocky, chances are, is going to repeat back what he heard Brian Burke say on the segment the night before.
Or
He's got opinions.
Does he have opinion? Well, like
it's Burke
you
or
are
it's
right.
Cherry.
Burger Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what Don says.
Because Elliot and Chris try to not have opinions. They're journalists. They're trying to be just, here are the facts.
Here's the news.
But then there's guys who are like, this is what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I had
for their
members of
opinion.
my family back not 18 months ago saying that Mitch Marner needed to be traded because he was playing on the 4th line and it was
for
time
who?
to Noah Hannafin.
Oh!
Weirdly. And
Coulda
he said that on
Hannafin.
TV. Nick Kiprios. So it is interesting that the people who make the taste, the people that drive the conversation, at least among people that are not that don't have time to get on Twitter and tweet relentlessly about it like we do. People with families and jobs and maybe who are not internet savvy and maybe a little bit older. We have to recognize that is a thing that's been happening for a long time. But I wonder how many good players Leafs media have run out of town. Like, because they just didn't like them, and they just decided, I don't like you.
Is there a podcast with like people maybe double our age, like I don't know, the Leafs Boomers podcast or whatever, and they're going, so there's these online tastemakers, like a Sean Tierney trying to ram it down my throat that William Nylander's been good, when clearly, like, I don't know, I just wonder if there's like an opposite side of that.
I don't
feel
know.
like
No, the
people-
opposite side is the people on TV.
Yeah,
who are saying
that's their
that.
fucking
Yeah,
podcast.
that's their podcast. Yeah.
Well, fair enough. It's funny.
The
no,
opposite
'cause
is the people we're talking about.
people talk about like, oh, William Nylander never gets a fair shake, and I'm like, I don't see it, and that's because I spend all my time online.
Yeah,
Yes.
amongst
Right.
people who would give him a fair shake.
He does not get a fair shake. There's
so
no question.
That's from Rayhef_Isa on Twitter.
Oh!
Do you know,
Isa.
do you know that?
Yes,
Follow?
yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Awesome follow. Also, small note from Nick Richard. With William Nylander on the ice, this was also Friday night versus Sharks. The Leafs generated 23 shot attempts to just 7 for the Sharks. He also had a primary assist on the game-winning goal after skating the puck through the neutral zone, hitting Riley with a beautiful pass. That was that pass. And then his Corsi for percentage was 76.67.
Wow.
Jesus, would have been
That's a great Friday night for William.
would have been great to give Hutch that game.
Would have been great. Now,
It wouldn't have mattered.
That's who wore the
That's-
crown
It
for
would've
this week. Brought to you as
No.
always by Crown Royal. Next time the puck drops, why not live generously?
Why not?
And treat your friends and Leafs crew to a Crown Royal Old Fashioned. Now, let's talk about the last 2 games. The Leafs win, the Leafs lose. Concerning about the first game, they win and the arena's dead. Concerning about the second game, it's a repeat of every other loss they've had this year on a back-to-back.
I can't get excited to watch the Leafs.
Well, it seems
and
like
that's concerning, right?
fans can't get I'm not excited to watch the Leafs. I
can't
mean
get
that.
excited to watch them play the Sharks because I know even if they win, they're going to lose the next night. They're going to. Oh, we almost had them, and you almost had the Bruins, and you almost. Wow, you know what? You keep putting those almost points in the bank, and you're going to almost make the playoffs. I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm exhausted. I know that they head into every back-to-back with the goal of getting 2 of 4. Mission accomplished. Woo! Woo! And like they went into this week with a pair of back-to-backs with the mission of getting 4 out of 8. You got 3. Well, you know what though? 3 is almost 4. So woo! Mission accomplished. Ugh. Like I can't get excited about that. The narrative that this team doesn't stick up for itself. The first time someone got decked, I'm like, whatever. Matthews gets decked, I'm like, that's a little bit concerning. Barry got decked yesterday, and I'm like, can someone frigging do anything? Slash him.
So to that point, Mike Babcock said, who's going to do that? They asked him between games, are you upset about the Brendan Dillon hit on Matthews and the lack of retaliation from your team? And he asked, and no reporter had a follow-up. He said, who's going to do that?
A reporter should have said any freaking buddy. Sidney Crosby fights. Evgeny Malkin fights. Pavel Datsyuk once beat the shit out of Corey Perry. He beat the brakes off of him. Pavel Datsyuk. Stick up for yourself, for crying out loud.
But that's
Brendan Gallagher.
that's not
is
these
a thing.
guys.
Are
That-
you joking?
Yeah, it's
that's not these guys, though.
I don't get. Okay, well then they're not winners. They're not going to win.
Is not
Oh, it's not
retaliating.
these guys.
But
okay,
that's-
well,
Is that what winning is? Retaliating after a big hit?
They're trying to.
No, but like for fuck's sake, like,
They're trying-
make
Steve,
it
they're
look like you give the remotest shit.
They're trying
Sure.
to instill a way of thinking with the Leafs right now, which is tough for us because in the moment we're fans and we want to react.
Yeah.
They're trying to say, okay, but our retaliation is our power play. Our retaliation, but the problem is when you have there were some missed calls in Boston, and again, I want to stay away from criticizing the refs because it's so fucking boring.
They're terrible.
No one cares.
They're awful.
It's subjective, and every other fan base is going to go, well, we have our complaints too, and I get that. And it's Max Domi. There were Montreal reporters last night
All
who were
of
like,
them.
how
All
did
of
Max
them.
Domi not get a penalty for punching, who was it in the head?
Alex Kerfoot.
Yes.
After Kerfoot,
Yeah.
and Domi was right to stick up for himself. He just got decked from behind. So he gets up. He does a 10 times more aggressive version of what Martin Martinsson did to David Backes. Nothing. Fuck all. The worst officials in professional sports. They're awful.
Well, have you seen basketball?
Yeah, basketball. Basketball's a joke at
Basketball's
officiating.
so bad.
Yeah.
Forget the fact
Best
that
sport,
basketball
worst
officials were literally caught getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least they got caught. Whereas they actually got paid, so they intentionally threw games. NHL refs just don't give a shit.
I'm surprised you have this opinion. That you think the Leafs winning and losing is dependent on them retaliating to Brendan Dillon.
No, okay.
Because
calm down.
Because there are people that are going to take this part of the conversation, and before they hear the whole thing, they're going to go, "I can't believe it! Oh my God, you guys have completely thrown everything that you've ever said out the window."
Totally, but every now and then, let them know you still exist.
Get angry.
Like our retaliation is our power play. One, you don't score it. You score 1 out of 5 times. Your retaliation is 1 out of 5 times, if you're lucky. Also, you got to rely on the worst officials in professional sports to provide you with that power play.
Nope.
Second worst.
The worst. The worst.
Also, they might be tied with NFL officials.
Oh, after that New Orleans game. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's New Orleans, the entire city, how they feel about the NFL officiating.
Just the elbow, the direct head hit, and that was exhausting.
With the Brendan Dillon stuff?
The Brendan Dillon conversation on Twitter. Clean hit. Oh, okay. Okay. Despite the fact that... Open your fucking eye! Like, I was sitting there looking at my mentions and just going, I have nothing for these people. I have nothing for the... Like, it was like I could have just posted a picture of an orange and had everyone tell me it was a lemon. He hit him in the fucking head! Open your eyes! Direct to the head!
I think, though...
Oh, he was admiring his pass. Fine! He hit him in the brain, idiot! What?
The
What?
way...
I'm telling the truth!
The way it hit to the head
Fun show.
is... the way it hit to the head is judged as if there's contact, right?
People who just don't see what's in front of them. How do you argue with people who dispute reality?
Because Steve, their entire existence, that sort of hit has been illegal, and it's only legal. The only time that's changed is in the last 3 years. And you know what the NHL's done a terrible job of doing?
Employing anyone who gives a shit.
Is going out and saying, this is what a head hit looks like, and here's what one doesn't look like, and here's that's on the line, and here's what we would do about that. And the reason they haven't done that is they don't want anyone to pin them when they fuck up.
Yeah.
So the NHL says, anytime there's head contact, it's a hit to the head, except when it's not. And that's the problem the NHL faces, is that, and as a fan you face, because the NHL is really smart. The NHL is a lawyer. The NHL is Gary Bettman. Gary Bettman is a lawyer. And Gary Bettman knows not to paint himself into a corner. Kyle Dubas could learn something from Gary Bettman in that regard, by the way.
How?
Can and we will.
Oh, yes.
He's a little too matter-of-fact about things.
Sorry, I love Kyle Dubas' confidence, but is there a more damaging statement in his tenure as a GM?
And he did it right away.
Yeah. But the NHL loves to exist in that gray area, because once they do, then they're free from criticism. Because they're like, all right, we're on both sides here. It's like, you can't criticize us.
No, they love to live in that white-haired area. Like we got George Peros and a bunch of dudes in their 50s and 60s who played hockey in the 70s and 80s, making decisions about head contact, and we're not going to get a fair shake, folks. Like, our retaliation is the power play. Abandon that plan. You are not going to get ahead with that plan. Abandon it.
Well,
Stop
especially the way it's playing
on the decisions of others. Let me.
Especially the way they're playing. By the way, we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Penalty kill looks good. If you were to tell me before the season which guy's going to look great, Dave Haxtell or Paul McFarland, I'd have been like, Paul McFarland and not Dave Haxtell. And guess what? It's the exact opposite. The Leafs PK looks great. The Leafs power play looks abysmal.
Do we owe DJ Smith an apology?
No.
At what?
No.
Okay.
No.
We're not
DJ
doing
Smith
that?
was the penalty kill guy.
Right.
DJ Smith insisted on having Hainsey and Zaitsev out there. The PK looks good with Haxtell.
Might have been a good option as a head coach.
Oh, come on, man. They like him? That's not good enough. Sorry, man. That's not good enough. No. That's not good enough. That's not good enough.
Everyone's telling me how good this team is on paper, and all they need is a motivator.
Fine, but
we might be wrong about that. We might be wrong about how good they are on paper. We might have overvalued their skill.
Here, one
might be
thing
a thing.
From Andrew Berkshire. 2.92 power plays per team per game last year. The lowest since they started recording it in 1963.
Wow.
Do not rely on our power play is our retaliation. It's simply not. You will be let down. Abandon that plan.
So the solution to that, though, if you are going to go down that road, cannot be go and get another Fraser McLaren.
No.
And this is the problem. And so you've got two sides here, two competing sides. You've got one side that's like, just outscore them. You got the other side that's like, well, we need a little, we need
get a tough guy.
Three tough guys who go out there and just rock 'em, sock 'em robots. And that's not going to work either. What you need are guys like a Brendan Gallagher who gets in front of the net, who's a pain in the ass, who occasionally punches people in the face.
Zach Hyman.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm dying for him to come back.
It would be great to have, if you could again, a guy like Leo Komarov. Not Leo currently, but if you can find the guy with that pissy little attitude that drives people nuts, that's like Brad Marchand's the perfect example of a guy who's tough, but scores a pile of points. You can find both. Mm-hmm. You got to draft for skill first, but if we need some of that, and I agree.
Was it a bad decision to trade Nazem Kadri?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know, man.
I don't think so.
Isn't he that guy that you just described?
No, he's the guy that blew it for them twice in 2 years. I think he. I'm sorry, with Naz, for me, shame on me, you fool me once. Shame on you, you fool me once. Shame on me, you fool me twice. Yeah. As in,
dude, he ruined 2 playoffs.
He had his chance. That was it. And also,
I can't put it any more bluntly. He ruined 2 playoff series. I love him with all my heart, but he ruined 2 playoff series.
He wasn't great last year either. He was okay.
No.
And he wasn't doing the things last year that made him success. Remember when they were like, we were flirting with Kadri for Selke, that sort of like we were joking about that? Not a chance in hell, by the way.
You were joking.
But
I wasn't.
But
someone was serious.
I was a little bit serious.
When Kadri really committed, and there was that one game against Edmonton, and forgive me, Oilers fans, for bringing this up, but there was that one game where, we shut down McDavid. That was that one game, and everybody was like, he didn't.
By the numbers, absolutely not. But he scored the overtime winner.
Yes, and people were like, Nazem Kadri's arrived, and this is the guy he is. The things that made him great in games like that, he stopped doing last year.
Oh, yeah.
And then he did what he did in the playoffs. I don't think trading Nazem Kadri was the problem. I think you got to have somebody who, and this is going to sound, again, against what we've always talked about, which is what the numbers say, which is, by the way, the Leafs are in 3rd in the division. Yeah. They're behind Boston. They got more points than Tampa. They're tied with Pittsburgh and the Islanders. This is not bad. This is not a terribly bad start. However, I will say this. The Leafs have played 13 games. Boston's played 10. The Leafs are still 2 points behind them. That's a problem.
But they're in the exact same position as last season.
Bingo.
If it ended right now, same series, same thing.
I think the problem is that's not good enough. No. And they do need someone who's that emotional, physical presence up front. Maybe it's Zach Hyman. But Chris Johnson said this week, apparently on Account for Hockey is another great follow. You should 20 games in, there will be some sort of personnel change if this doesn't stop. And I don't think Kyle Dubas is.
He's not an idiot.
He's not an idiot. I think he can see what's going on, and I also think
he grew up watching the same hockey we did.
Sure, I think that you go into the season and you go, okay, well, you got Dermott out, which is why we got to throw CC in that role. Because we don't want to have...
You want a candidate for a fight? Cody Ceci. You're not doing anything else.
He doesn't fight,
I don't give a shit. Someone's got to.
Well, so what's he fight and then embarrass himself?
So get out there and fight.
Yeah, if Cody Ceci turned into our tough guy, I wouldn't hate that.
Like, someone's got to, and you're bad.
And he's less time on the ice, you know?
Someone's got to, and you're bad. Throw a punch.
Yeah. He got embarrassed a couple of times with Montreal.
Against Brendan Gallagher.
Yeah.
The one play where he was in front, and he did a little spin on him. And
embarrassing.
Like, come on.
Oh, it's bad.
There's guys in junior who could have done the same move.
Yeah.
Like, that's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever confidence Cody Ceci had coming out of preseason, he's lost.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think... I got to be honest with you, and this is so funny because, Manny had the is Cody Ceci actually good bingo, and we're all on it, by the way. I don't see anything beyond a number 7 defenseman there.
He's not better than Nikita Zaitsev. Good God.
I was like, all we need is 5% better than Zaitsev, and we do not have that.
No, you have worse than Zaitsev. I understand the purpose of the trade. He's worse than Zaitsev.
Yeah. So... with that in mind,
they lost more from their roster in the CC trade than they did from the Muzzin trade.
Yeah,
because they got rid of Connor Brown too.
With a guy like Cody and with Travis Dermott potentially coming back this week because he's now officially able to be activated along with Zach Hyman. Mm-hmm. The face of this team could change a little bit. You could have, as soon as Tavares is back, because Tavares is out too, you get that Tavares, Hyman, Marner line back together and things start to click and then, you're good. But one thing I do want to talk about, and I was concerned about this, I was thinking about it in the shower because that's where I think about everything. When I hear that a guy makes double digits in the NHL, I expect that guy to look like they make double digits in the NHL every night. Has Mitch Marner on any night this year looked like a double digits NHL player? And I say that in direct contrast to myself 20 days ago when they signed the contract, and I said, well, as long as he continues playing like he did, it's not a bad deal. But the problem with it is that it's not when times are good. It's when times are not good that we need guys like him to step up. And I'll get to Matthews in a second, but let's start with Marner.
The city's still mad at him. The fan base is still mad at him.
But is he playing well?
He's leading the team in scoring.
That doesn't matter, though.
No one gives a shit.
Is he driving play?
I know. He's leading the team in scoring, and no one cares because he doesn't look
But he's
dominant.
not driving play.
I wouldn't say I thought he was good against Montreal. But, yeah, you're getting paid, wrath of God money.
You should scare
Every time
people.
you step on the ice, you're the best player. And every time Matthews steps on the ice, he's the best player. Those two step on the ice at the same time, the other team should be shitting themselves. And they're just not. Well,
I'm going to
run. It's okay, though, because, a $2 million left winger and a guy on the third year of his ELC are coming back. Guys, when you get a chest infection...
Don't disrespect them.
No, I'm not going to disrespect them. But, that's
right.
the glue that's holding the $11 million players together.
Sure.
Tavares, too.
Yeah, Tavares, too. They look the same. Adam, when you have a chest infection, what do you take? Cough syrup, for sure, so that you can extend that chest infection for a month by feeling slightly better and just hacking your brains out while the issue is not addressed.
So you're saying
This
they at least
team
need an
needs
antibiotic.
antibiotics.
What's the antibiotic?
I think we've talked about it already.
So you've got Matthews in the past 5 games, all of them without Tavares, and this is from Jonas Siegel of The Athletic. Here are his possession numbers, guys. Last night, 44% versus Montreal, 65% versus San Jose the night before, 42 second half of back-to-back against Boston earlier this week, 62 against Columbus, and 43% against Boston before that about a week and a half ago.
They just
Not
keep
great.
getting their friggin' lunch fed to them on the second half of a back-to-back. And they keep doing the same shit. Get a clue. Get an actual clue. You lose every one of them. Hutchison has actually given them a fighting chance.
Especially last night.
Yeah, last night was not on him.
No.
I would say the Boston game, he was weak. But I would say, but Montreal, I was impressed.
Yeah, they had one good period, and that was the second. And the first and the third were just shots fired on Hutchison nonstop.
That's it.
You can also tell, by the way, on their second half of their back-to-backs, I think weren't they tight with Boston until the third period on Tuesday? I can't even remember now.
They're exhausted.
Yeah, they run out of ammo.
But by the third period, it was 2-2 going into the third last night.
Yeah.
And now then it's like I'm looking at it like I'm sort of watching at the corner of my eye at dinner, and I had it on my phone. And I'm like, how is it? I'm like, it's 3-2. Okay, well, how is it 4-2? Like, how does that happen? And
Odd man rushes.
they just don't have the legs. I wonder too, if
But they should have the legs.
They should
They're
have the
a bunch
legs.
of 21-year-olds.
Well, I've always said about that, okay, yes, they're 21-year-old professional athletes going up against rested professional athletes.
Sure.
San Jose look like shit. San Jose doesn't stink, although the record's pretty bad. San Jose looked like shit. They were on the second half of a back-to-back on the road.
Mm-hmm.
It affects them. They play too many goddamn games.
if there's a back-to-back, I think it's weird that any team has to travel on the second half of a back-to-back.
The Leafs have 10 before New Year's Eve.
That's a lot.
What did they do to deserve this?
Well, maybe we'll be happy about that come March when they haven't had as rough of a schedule.
It's going to be I think it's 4 in the second half of the season.
This is what...
So
They're
we're
gonna
not just
clean
playing
up.
4 times in 2020.
Right. No, that seriously might be it.
That might be it.
This is what I said today. I'm turning over the hourglass. You have 1 month to impress me. You've made all these excuses. You have 1 month. They have 3 back-to-backs in November, but one of them doesn't count because it's a home-and-home against the Sabres, so you're playing against a team that is equally as tired as you. Mm-hmm. You have 1 month. Mm-hmm. You're getting Hyman back, you're getting Dermott back, you're getting Tavares back. You have 1 month.
Okay, Friday to Saturday, you're going Toronto to Montreal, no customs. Mm-hmm. hour in the air. Mm-hmm. Are we sure it should have affected them that much?
No.
They should have gone the next morning and just skipped the morning skate.
Yeah, why do they do that? Why do they do a morning skate in Montreal? I don't get that.
Good question.
It's
a good
what
question.
we do. Yeah. Well, it's what we do. Like I don't know if it was him, but like this.
Like, that's where Tavares has to step in and be like, yo, Mike, chill out, man.
Mm-hmm.
One thing in my criticisms of Mike Babcock, I hope I'm not putting anything on him that should be going above his head. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what decision. But, like, that... Isn't that a no-brainer?
Yeah.
Isn't that a no-brainer?
Should be.
You won the night before. You played freaking great. You traveled. You should be traveling the next day, sleep in your own bed. And like you said, it's Montreal. Could drive there and still be there in time for lunch.
Just put him on the train. Put him on the Via. It's great.
Seriously.
Via
they would
to
never
Montreal.
do that.
The
but,
Via to Montreal is awesome.
It's nice. We've done it together as friends. We're the three best friends.
And I was so goddamn sick.
And you
Fun fact, for my own bachelor party, I was so unbelievably sick that
went to sleep.
I went to sleep at my own bachelor party. However, on the train ride there, and I get full credit to my buddy Matt, he had those big SodaStream containers, and they had lemon, vodka, and soda water in them, which is exactly what you need when you're sick, it turns out. It just cleared my throat right out. It was great. Not recommended. No doctors recommend that, by the way. That was just me.
Adam literally was in bed when we were about to go out, and I elbow dropped him like Macho Man Randy.
Yeah,
And I
there's
was
no
like, fine,
chance
fuck it,
you're
let's go.
standing. Yeah.
And we went.
You only get one of these, asshole. All right.
Then we went out in Montreal and ran to a couple Canadians.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we
Remember
did.
that?
Brendan Gallagher.
Oh.
No, was it Gallagher or?
Are we allowed to
Well,
say?
Yeah, well, I mean,
We
he
can
wasn't
now.
doing
It was
anything.
Gallagher.
Okay.
Yeah, it
He
was.
wasn't doing anything.
By the
he
way,
literally just sat there with like a drink in his hand on his phone, and he was allowed to have a drink in his hand because the Canadians won 10-1 that night.
That was a
Oh,
great
yeah.
game. That was so much
And
fun.
they kept playing every time. What is the song they play?
Hey!
Yeah.
Oh my God. The song they always, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah,
but it's,
forget it.
Man, Montreal's such a
Lekanen?
fun. Did you see the crowd shots from last night too? In Montreal, like people dressed up and that sort of thing. Like they just have so much fun.
The Bell
Oh, I know.
Center is a great time.
Party.
Yeah.
It was like that. Montreal and Nashville, the two best arenas I've seen hockey in.
You know what, man? Like, even though it's torture, Boston's pretty good.
Boston was fucking
fun,
crazy.
yeah.
Boston is
that
really
was
good.
Dude, we lost 6-0 and I had a ball in the playoffs.
It was
The
worse than
fans, especially the fans in Boston, I think, are what make it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're-
Everybody in the crowd there knows their hockey and they're just having a good
they're
time.
lunatics.
We
Yeah.
had a good time there before they replaced all those seats, and now you have to be 50 pounds before you can actually fit into them. Though, did you see that?
Yes.
We talked about it on the show.
Oh, we
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Holy.
Pittsburgh, the atmosphere in Pittsburgh, I like related to, because it was during the Stanley Cup final, and like they were raucous and everything, but like you could tell, like you go into Boston, they have this like Greek warrior friggin' we're winning this thing. In Pittsburgh, it was like, oh god, it goes well. And then like you could tell they were all terrified.
Pennsylvanians are they have a lot of similarities to Canadians in their temperament and manners.
Careful, Phillies in Pennsylvania.
Parts of Pennsylvania.
Get out of
Pittsburgh.
here, asshole!
Fair
You
enough.
drive a few hours up the road.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe Pennsylvania is both halves of the human body. It's like Pittsburgh's nice and kind, and we're really lots of success and winning, and then Philly's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
It's like calling Edmonton and Calgary the same.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not even close.
no.
But but you know what I mean? When you go to Pennsylvanians are very nice. They're very nice, and they're known for that.
hospitable.
Yes.
I found.
Except for Pittsburgh.
Sorry, piece of shit.
Did you
Wait,
see?
no, that's your beef.
Did you see they brought out? Speaking of crazy fan bases, they brought out Mitch Trubisky, who's the Chicago Bears quarterback.
Okay.
They brought him out at a Blackhawks game, and they brought out a young fan wearing a Mitch Trubisky jersey, and they booed him.
Blackhawks fans are nuts.
It was the kid wearing the jersey, and he got booed
That's
in
another
Chicago.
building. I just haven't been. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'd love to go to the United Center,
Oh, me too. I want to visit everyone. All of them.
except for the Florida Panthers. I haven't seen a game there.
I've never seen a Panthers game. I've seen Tampa.
Oh, Tampa.
Never,
yes, yeah.
never the Panthers.
Because
I'd
we'll
love
never
to see
do
the
that.
Panthers, though.
No, we'll be the only people in the arena.
The only place I've been where like, the energy was like a little bit off. Well, two places, Buffalo, because they don't. Sabres fans do not embrace the rivalry at all. They hate it.
Yeah.
No, and they don't want. The building is 75% Leaf fans, and they're not stoked about it at all. I haven't been to a Leafs game in Ottawa, so I don't know what that's like. But like the Sabres fans don't embrace it.
I think you need to go to the Leafs fans or a Leafs game in Ottawa when Ottawa is in a better spot than they are now.
Maybe.
Like you wouldn't even get an accurate reading now.
Ottawa plays them like every game's a friggin' Stanley Cup final anyway.
All the shit that Eugene has started, I think that I don't think that you'd get that's not an accurate reading, but maybe if you went 5 years ago, it would have been a different feeling, right?
Fair enough. I've seen a game in Ottawa, it just wasn't a Leaf game.
I think I had a friend go to Buffalo and see another team, and it was just another team playing the Sabres, and I forget who it was, but they said they asked about Toronto fans there, and I think, unfortunately, what happens... Yeah, they do, because it's the hooligan Toronto fans. It's like the hooligan Yankee fans that come up to Toronto for the Blue Jays. And no, I'm not kidding. It really is like starting fights in the parking lot. And now, Buffalo. Spade a spade here. Bills Mafia... I mean, let's not.
They're the Mount Rushmore of crazy fan bases.
Right.
It's Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
They're number one.
So I think there are Buffalo fans who think Toronto fans have no class. However, there is a reason that people have been rowdy in Buffalo for a long time.
Yes.
And that is because Buffalonians are also rowdy.
Since we're in this territory, Brian Burke always talks about he always had to hire extra security when he was GM of the Canucks for when the Leafs played in town because there was always fights. And his takeaway from that was, it's the Leafs fans. Not the fact that a lot of people from out west hate everything to do with Toronto. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is it takes two to tango.
Well,
I doubt Leaf fans are walking in there like, right then!
Yeah.
All right then, who wants a little bit of fisticuffs that late?
Now
Get that accent out
there
of
is
nowhere.
some of that.
Yeah.
However,
I'm sure.
Vancouver also has its own reputation for things.
Yeah.
So
when they lose Stanley Cup
things
finals.
didn't go
That
well.
they're not totally stoked about.
Right, yeah. They don't like it when you bring it up, and that's fair. I wouldn't like that either. I'm once terrified and excited about when the Leafs actually do make the finals one day, because if they don't win, that is going to be...
Oh, it's going to be shitty.
That is going to be... Like
I think about it a lot.
anything we've seen in Vancouver, I'm a little bit concerned. Although Torontonians are a little bit quieter. Montreal, they rioted after Metallica and Guns N' Roses were on tour together. And Metallica was out first, which was, in retrospect, a terrible idea because they're a far better live act than Guns N' Roses. And James Hetfield got burned by one of the flames that came up through the stage. Like, really burned. Like, you know how hot those things are when you're in the audience? Imagine you're standing right beside and he got burned. So you got, third-degree burns or whatever all over his arm, and they couldn't finish the set, and they had to get off stage. And then Axl Rose came out. I think they played like 3 or 4 songs, and then because he was a gigantic asshole on a ton of drugs, said, fuck off, and they left the stage too. So everybody left and just started fighting each other. So there was a riot after a poorly executed Metallica Guns N' Roses concert in Montreal. And every fan base has it, right?
Yeah.
I've always said this, but the gold medal game in Vancouver, I just remember leaving, and this is pre-2011 riot.
Yeah.
I just remember looking around and going, oh my God, this could go sideways so quickly. I didn't see a single thing.
No.
Not a single thing.
So back to...
the other arena was Edmonton, but they were just sad because they sucked at the time.
Right. Yeah.
This was like 2012.
Well, and when it comes to arena passion, I want to bring it back to something I mentioned earlier, and something I noticed during the Tampa Bay game when we were there. Now, we were there for a 7-3 shit kicking. It sucked.
Not us. We as in...
Well, we were at the Tampa Bay game.
No, it was 7-3.
Oh, you mean, I thought you were referring to like
when
in
I went
Tampa
to Tampa
Bay.
Yeah, sorry, I should have cleared that up.
Okay.
No, when we went to the Crown Royal seats.
Yes.
And by the way, congratulations, one of our listeners won the Crown Royal seats to the Boston game, which was awesome. And I believe that was the one the Leafs beat Boston, which was great.
Hey, yes, the overtime winner. That seems ages ago.
It does seem like it does. It's almost like we've forgotten it's happened.
Oh my God. They'll never beat Boston. They literally just beat Boston.
Yeah. They've beaten Boston 6 times in the playoffs in the last few years, just not 8 times.
It's not
9
4
times.
in 1 year.
But the point I'm trying to make here is I'm noticing a very, like, I've always been a defender of what the Air Canada Centre, now ScotiaBank Arena, could be with fan support. You could see it with the Raptors. You could see it with the Leafs when the Leafs were good. But
the Jays.
I'm talking about ScotiaBank Arena.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm talking about fans in the city.
TFC.
Right.
TFC, you're right.
No,
Yeah.
just
The Marlies.
Wolfpack.
But
The horse show.
Woodbine Racing.
the Royal Canadian, what is it? The Royal Canadian Winter Fair or something?
Yeah,
like that?
whatever that thing
They
is.
shut down the Marlies for like a month.
Yeah, the boat
They gotta go on
show.
a road trip.
The boat
Yeah.
show. Yeah, where they flood Rico.
Yeah.
Sorry, professional hockey team. We gotta fill the building with sand.
What about the car show? What about those fans?
Whoa, crazy,
Car
crazy.
show
They go
fans.
nuts.
Lots of car show guys they like to go and they like to take pictures with the car show models who unfortunately have to take pictures with them. And they like to post those on Facebook.
Oh, Adam.
Every stupid guy I know goes to the car show, takes pictures with those girls, and they're like, "Yeah, check me out with these girls." And I'm like, "Oh man, this is so embarrassing. Like, why does it have to be like this?"
They post that picture right after they post their up the camera selfie, where it's just their chin and they're like this.
Oh yeah.
You're getting really specific. Goatee, sunglasses.
Goatees
Like,
on,
okay.
own an ATV.
My dad is
A lot of goatee sunglasses thought Brendan Dillon laid a clean hit.
my
A
dad.
lot of goatee
My dad's the
sunglasses.
only person I know who goes to car shows and takes pictures of the actual cars. That's all he does. He just
What a
takes pictures.
weirdo.
I know he's
No, it's crazy.
So, but,
What a loser.
I know, loser. Oh, cuck is what I am.
Yes, for sure. Wonder who he voted.
Yeah, right. No, but the point I'm trying to make here is what we saw at that Tampa game, and what I've noticed ever since is it's like the air has been sucked out of the Scotiabank Arena, even by its quiet standards. Now, are we quieter based on fan support than like inside the arena than other arenas? Absolutely.
Yes.
There's no question.
Yes.
But if you want to see the wild and crazy fans, show them the camera outside where there's another 20,000 people, right? Like the hooligans are there. The crazy fans are there. It's just not every... The price of a ticket in Toronto is so expensive, and they're so hard to
can't buy
find.
them.
Even if you have the money, you can't buy them. They're not there. They don't exist.
Adam?
So
I have a wild idea.
so here's the thing.
Sure.
Let me finish this point.
Sure.
I'm concerned about this. I'm concerned not necessarily about home ice advantage, because I think home ice advantage is more you got to wake up in your own house and sleep in your own bed. It's not. The fans get
Strategy.
excited, but I don't know.
Last change.
Yeah, I think it's last change, stuff like that.
Last change that you used to send out your second line in overtime.
The San Jose game should, to me, be a real wake-up call. They won the game.
Look into the camera.
And they
They
were
won the game.
dead.
And the arena was dead.
Justin
and
Bieber
that's
could have recorded an album.
That's scary. That is scary. I'm terrified of that. And it seems like what you're feeling, the frustration you're feeling, the frustration we're feeling, the frustration everybody who's listening to the show and commenting on the videos are feeling is echoed in the arena. Something's up. And even when they do win, it feels like there's not a reason to cheer. And I'm wondering, are our standards just too high now? Is this how it is in other markets when teams struggle? Like, do Bruins fans get on their team like this? Yeah, probably.
Here,
But they boo them at least. They make noise.
Here, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Sorry.
Score the first goal once.
Steve.
Holy shit.
They have 3 times in
3
13
times
games.
out of 13!
Yeah, 10 of 13. Yeah.
Score the first goal once, but they start on time.
There are
what the
people
stats say.
claiming that they start on time. And there are stats that say
Shut
they
Well,
start
what
on
are
time.
what are
Just
those
shut up.
stats?
Well, there's pace of play stuff. Like Arvin
okay.
did a really good piece, and he broke it all down. And I understand where he's
should've
going
read
with
that.
that. He's not wrong in that they might be dominating play, but if you let in the first goal every time,
Right.
it's still not successful.
The thing that matters is how you win the game is you score more goals than the other team.
Yeah.
And I think if you're not scoring the first goal, then you're not starting on time.
Like
I think it's that simple, right?
the one thing they're leaving out of it is there are games.
By the way, that
where-
article is for the Pension Plan Puppets for anyone that wants to look
Oh,
it up.
there you go.
AVRI on Twitter. Is that I got that right?
I think
right?
so.
I'm going to check that.
That was
It's good. It's a
the
good
San
read.
Jose was a great example of why that's
ARVI,
weird.
excuse me, ARVI.
ARVI. The San Jose game was a great example of why that's weird, because the Leafs, I thought, did control the play through the first 5-10 minutes of the game. The problem is the 5 or 10% that they're not controlling, they pick 1 or 2 plays in particular where they just fill their pants to the belt. And I can't for the life of me explain it away. But the frustrating thing with this team is there are so many nights and so many stretches where they do genuinely look like a dominant team and the better team, and they still find a way to come out of it losing. You can just point at PDO. Like, you could say it's lazy to point to, well, they get scored on first 10 out of 13 times. I say it's equally as lazy to just point at PDO and go, well, there it is, and it's going to regress.
Why do you say that?
Because, dude, I'm okay. I'm not about to watch the games but I am about to watch the games this. You can't PDO explain away brain farts. You can't PDO explain away shit that they do all the time. Like, PDO is not going to make Cody Ceci better at what he does. It's not going to make the team tougher in front. It's not going to make them better at clearing rebounds. It's not going to make them take fewer penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are all recurring issues with this team. You know what, man? He's really looked good in stretches. And I've been critical of Mike Babcock, but if Mike Babcock locked Alex Kerfoot in a bathroom stall for the next game, I would have nothing to say about it. If he healthy scratched him.
Really?
Yes.
I thought
Why?
he had
He's been good with
decent-
Kapanen.
That's great. Stay out of the
Decent
fucking
little
box. Stay out of the... How many
Oh.
penalties does this guy have? How many penalties does this guy
Kerfoot?
have?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're not good penalties. They're the hooking, slashing type. I know what
He
you're
hits
saying.
Domi a little harder.
He's got 12 penalty minutes, so 6 penalties.
I would be curious to know what the game log is. Like, how many of them have been in consecutive games? Because it feels like every game he's taking something.
All right.
Okay,
If
I
he
got
hits
it.
Domi
I
a
got
little
here.
harder, we're talking suspension.
Last 5 games: Montreal 2, nothing against San Jose, nothing against Boston, 1 against Columbus, nothing against Boston.
Yeah, I think this is.
I'm stunned.
I think this is an in your brain thing.
That one's stunning. Okay, that one's one where you look at the stats and you go, okay, I'm wrong
He
about
got
that.
penalties against Ottawa in the first game, Montreal the third game, 2 penalties against Minnesota, which is probably a frustrating. It was not a great game. And then the other 2 were the ones I mentioned, Columbus and Montreal. However,
That's still
it's
too
part of
many.
a team-wide issue of hook slash.
Yeah.
Like they do have an issue with, and the reason that these issues occur, and anybody who watches hockey with any regularity can tell you this: when you're out of body position, you will take penalties with hooking and slashing and tripping.
Yes.
You will always do that, and I mean we saw that if
he's
who
in a
scored on
little above his
who
head.
scored on the breakaway last night with Muzzin trailing.
Oh my God.
in Montreal.
Well, you're asking me to pick between 3 breakaways. I don't remember. Druin?
And so if he doesn't score there, and I think it was Druin, Muzzin gets a penalty because he's hooking him. And you can't have.
Their body positioning is terrible.
It sucks. And you know what? The first guy who needs to improve that is Austin fucking Matthews, man. That guy needs to, like, there are opportunities where, and you can see it, and they show it on the replay on TV. The announcers know it. The advanced stats guys know it. The reporters know it. The coaches know it. Austin knows it. What is it going to take for him and Mitch Marner to have a positive effect defensively?
That's where
What
I get
is it going to
concerned.
take?
So they're going to regress to being better defensive players? Is that what I'm to understand?
No, I think that
they're going to regress to having better body position?
I think
They don't know how to do it.
I think they gotta put him out there and put him in those positions.
Or I could just do the same shit I've been doing for 4 years. How's that? I'm very
It
obviously
seems
done
like
with that.
when Marner and Matthews don't have the puck, they kind of lose focus a little.
Yeah.
Like when they don't have the opportunity to go play and have fun.
Marner a little bit reminds me of sort of what Gus Katsaros talked about years ago with Nikolai Kulemin, where when he doesn't have the puck, he tries so hard. There's one you cannot accuse Mitch Marner of being lazy.
No, he's not.
No.
That
He's
guy
always
goes
back.
balls to the wall. He's
Right.
always back, but like it's not
effective.
always necessarily. It's not. He's not using his energy effectively all the time.
He's just using energy.
He's just going. He's just going, and the puck's this way, and I'm going, and now I got the puck, and I'm going.
Except I'm exhausted now.
But they just
He intercepts passes in the butterfly position. Like,
Yes,
right.
that guy is extra, and it's great sometimes, but I don't always know if it's the best.
I feel like they just need to like focus on the play a little more and just play a little smarter on the defensive end.
Like,
But-
I'd like Matthews to know how big he is.
right.
And there's a couple guys, going back to the earlier conversation, like, Crosby sticks up for himself, Malkin sticks up for himself. I'm not looking for Austin Matthews, who has a concussion history and who knows, might have gotten another one against Brendan Dillon. I'm not looking for him to be starting fights. I'm not looking for Andreas Janssen, who has a history of concussions, to go out there and start fights. I am looking for something.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yep. We're not looking for face punching. It's maybe a little face punching, but it doesn't have to be just that. You got to
punch a guy in the face.
Okay, punch a guy in the face.
Punch a guy in the face. It's hockey. It's legal. There are no laws.
Is that
Might
going
as
to
well
help
take
them?
advantage of them.
Do you think that's going to help them score a goal?
I don't care. At this
you
point,
should.
do it to make me feel better. If you're going to lose,
Do it for
punch
Steve.
someone in the head.
Do it for Steve. Hashtag do it for
I
Steve.
get it.
That's not how the Leafs should be playing hockey, to make you happy.
Well, should they be playing like how they did last night?
No, but they should be playing to win.
I get that. I'm up in the middle between the two of you.
Stick up for yourself.
I think
every
think every once in a while you do need to go, hey, wait a second. No, you're not going to do that. But I also think if you overcommit to that, then you're fucked like they were a couple years ago, right? So you don't. That's the thing, is that like there is a common ground there, but maybe there is a personnel change in the future where you find it. Like, remember Wayne Simmons, what he was like in his prime before all the injuries, and Wayne.
He's still a bad man.
Yes, he is, but he was a bad man, and he would score 25 goals and get 30 assists and scare the shit out of teams.
Yeah.
And guys like that. Going back to that's what we need. Now I want to switch gears for a second here and move on to something that NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman said in Regina on Friday about potential changes to the current playoff format. He got some laughs because he said, "We think the format we have has been working extraordinarily well, unless you're a Leafs fan." Right. Now, is he wrong?
Yeah.
You think he's wrong?
I've never seen. Like, does the MLB give this little of a fuck about the Yankees?
I think the MLB does what the Yankees want. I think when you talk about Yankees in Boston, I mean they're the biggest generators, right?
It's open contempt from all levels of management throughout the league. They hate this team and city and the money that it makes it.
Are
They
we
do.
sure that's true?
Yes, or he just I'm in Western Canada and I'm going to take a shot.
Well,
at
yeah,
the
that's
Leafs.
exactly what he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
However, Steve makes a good point though. In what other league? And Alan Walsh actually tweeted and then deleted this. In what other league?
Oh, did he?
What did he
In
say?
what other league? No, he's right. Yeah, man, I think honestly.
I haven't even heard what he said.
Okay, what is he?
In what other league does a commissioner openly tease and make fun of his best revenue generating team? Have you ever seen Adam Silver come out and say "fuck the Lakers" and "fuck the Knicks"?
Should've never deleted it.
Have you
Love
ever?
you, Alan.
Now I'm paraphrasing what Alan Walsh, but he said basically openly, kind of like. In the MLB, you never see it with New York. In the NFL, you don't see Roger Goodell coming out and saying anything about any teams. And like imagine Roger Goodell made a snide remark about the Cowboys.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He did have his open thing with the
Patriots, while being in bed with them simultaneously.
Yeah, the
So-
MLB is weird.
The point here is, it's fun to burn the Leafs. I get it. If you're outside of Toronto, you're not a Toronto fan, you're listening to the show.
Bag again. It's great.
100%.
It's good shit.
It's
Good shit.
And you know what? Some of that's earned.
Oh yeah.
The Leafs were
Oh, I'm
awful for
frustrated.
40 years. 50 years. Awful. Mostly awful. They were the butt of the joke. But this is the biggest problem I think Brendan Shanahan has as the president now. The team that he's assembled on paper, even though they haven't put it together on the ice yet, so let's forget about that for a second, has what it takes. They have enough talent, they can do some damage. I think we're agreed on that. When they're playing at their best, they're a dominant NHL team. So he doesn't have to worry.
And asterisk on that, they never play their best.
Fair. But we're not worried about that right now. We're not focusing on that. Kyle Dubas is a good general manager. He's done some great things. He's done some things that are questionable, but show me a general manager that hasn't. Okay? So he doesn't have to worry about that. Brendan Shanahan's next war, his next goal to meet, and I think Brendan Shanahan knows that, is to go up against the office that he left knowing that they were incompetent and knowing that they were in trouble. When you look at take the concussion emails that Bob McKenzie, and who's the guy that's got you blocked from TSN that's like Rick Westhead?
Oh, Westhead?
Yeah, for some reason you blocked it. I have no idea why.
Is that
But
still a thing?
Rick does a lot of investigative reporting, especially about the concussion stuff. And when Rick came out with all those emails and you got to actually read how head office thinks about concussions, it's not hard to extrapolate
They don't
that
think
they think
in 2019.
100%.
Sorry.
And this is the thing that I think Brendan Shanahan now has to do. How is it that the highest revenue generating team in one of the most popular months of the NHL season, which is the first one, I mean, the first one's everybody's rearing to go, right? November, December, January, February, there are dips and stuff. Holidays happen. The fact that kids have hockey, whatever. But the first couple games are like big shit, right? Until the playoffs. And the fact that the Leafs have one of the toughest NHL schedules in one of the most popular months is a joke. And beyond that, the commissioner's out there making jokes about it. And I don't think, and then making jokes about the fact that the Leafs are not making the second round of the league, which is objectively bad for the league. The salary cap, I hate to tell you this, and you're not going to like this if you're not a Toronto fan, but this is not a Toronto slant. This is truth. The Leafs make the finals, the cap goes up.
Oh my God.
That is mathematics.
How about this? They helped a brand new team. They helped an expansion team that somehow found itself in a catastrophic cap crunch. They 2 years into the league, they helped a team out of an enormous cap crunch. The Leafs are paying like $115 million or something
in salary,
like that.
An actual
They're the
salary.
league's goddamn piggy bank.
So
They're mad about the front-loaded deals.
is that what the NHL is?
100%. They're mad about the front-loaded deals, and I wonder who Bettman cheered for growing up.
Rangers, I would think, wouldn't he?
Islanders.
Oh, really? Was he an Isles fan?
Yep.
So, beyond all that, I think Brendan Shanahan's next job is to say, okay, now he can't really call Gary Bettman because Gary Bettman's going to laugh him out of the room with Bill Daly. But Brendan Shanahan's next job is to reinstitute this team as one of the leaders in this league. No more high fives with Jeremy Jacobs. With Bettman and Jacobs. I know they're buddies. I know they go way back. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
This whole buddy club, this is the team that is basically, I mean, besides the Rangers, I guess the Rangers are the higher valued team because they're American and they're in New York.
I don't know.
1 and 2. Mm-hmm. No one generates more money than the Leafs, and it's a Canadian dollar team.
Or spends it. Time for a little bit of respect. No, I think it's time for them to be exhausted on the second half of a back-to-back nationally 6 times before New Year's Eve.
And if you are, I know. And if you're the fan of a smaller market team, you're probably going, yeah, these guys sound like arrogant jerks. Think about it in our perspective. Think about it from a major market perspective.
I hope you enjoy your hockey team.
This is
you still have. You're welcome.
This is your team that spends the most money, that does the most for the league, and the league just goes throws up a finger in your face and goes, yeah, well, too bad. Also, I think Bettman has a point. The NHL playoff format does work because it creates great matchups early. And as you see with the MLB, just hold on a second.
Calgary, Colorado sucked.
Okay. That's one example.
Tampa was a great story because of how much it sucked.
Toronto, Boston did not suck. But the thing was, the NHL playoffs were great even before this playoff format. To say that the NHL didn't have the best playoff format before this was a lie. Everybody said it. Everybody knew it. There were great matchups before this. And by the way, in the 1-8, 2-6 or whatever, the Leafs would have got Pittsburgh and the Islanders. The Leafs would have got Pittsburgh coming off back-to-back cups, and then the Islanders last year.
If anything, it would have been better having them go against John Tavares' ex-team.
That would have been amazing.
That's better than Boston.
Oh my God. It's 1,000 times better.
I guess my point in all this...
And if the Islanders beat them. Seriously, it's better.
If they're... I think that you can't lose on the way the NHL format works just because of the way the game lends itself to the playoffs.
Well, you can lose when a better team is not being rewarded for having a good regular season.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're a top 3 team in the conference and you're playing on the road in the first round of the playoffs, that doesn't make sense just from a logical standpoint, because then what's the point of playing 82 games and playing well in them?
Fair. I think that the NHL loses, though, when their commissioner comes out and throws a middle finger up at the piggy bank.
Oh, yeah. I was
Sorry.
joking.
I
was joking.
No, that's...
Just like Brad Marchand with the refs. I was joking. He's got jokes. He's got jokes for that. That's
licking
Kerfoot's
Leo Komarov.
Kerfoot's got to work on his material. Just, become a friend.
So
we're all friendly.
That's
here.
Brendan Shanahan's next thing is, how about a little bit of respect here, Gary?
Yeah.
And I mean that. And that's not... If
You
things...
should friggin' lace him up.
Well, I would love to have Brendan Shanahan. He was a son of a bitch to play against.
Might hit someone.
But I think that that's the next thing. You can't have a league that actively makes fun of and denigrates their best team. money-wise. You just can't.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can't.
The reception to this is going to be really.
I don't give a shit.
Level-headed
I'm right.
and-
That's bad business, man. That's just bad business. However, funny burn, and I get it. Because you know what? Everybody wants to burn the Leafs. And for the reasons that I just stated.
In a market where support for the sport is dying every single day.
In Toronto? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's dying. There's 30 last names in the NHL.
And they're all former NHL, like their
Yeah.
NHL families. That's another
the son
problem.
of, the nephew of, the...
That's a
serious
That is
issue.
a serious problem, by the way.
No.
Because it now is starting to mean that those with the resources to get the right trainers, to get the right... Yeah, and I understand there's a genetic component to that. I do. There is.
Well, if the league keeps expanding, the Stulls and Sutters are going to have more kids. Come on, guys, let's go.
It is an
let's
issue.
Go.
The
Come
fact
on.
that I've got friends
Come on, Ty.
I have friends in LA, it costs them $20,000 a year to keep their kid in hockey, and their kid's good. Really good.
Yep.
Going
It's
to the O.
$15,000 to play AA or something like that here.
It's crazy. Who's got that money? So I think that's another issue, and I think we're going to have Sean Fitzgerald on eventually. We've been meaning to have him on for a while.
Yes.
He's got that new book called. It's
He's going to be playing with us.
What's it called again?
Before the lights go out.
And it's about just that issue.
Yeah, and he followed around the Peterborough Petes, who happen to have noted defensemen, Nick Robertson and also SDA.
Now-
and they make appearances.
Last show we talked about the Heritage Classic, and how neither of us even knew it existed.
The what?
The Heritage Classic, exactly. It was between who? Calgary and Winnipeg, and they had their throwback jerseys, which I don't understand why both teams don't just use those jerseys because they're way better.
Yeah. Before the lights go out, a season inside a game worth saving. Sean Fitzgerald.
Right.
Who won
Who won what?
the Heritage Classic?
No idea.
Do you know?
No, I didn't look it up.
None of us know.
Can I just say, it's
Yeah.
a little unfair, the narrative of we didn't know it was happening, because it's not a national event. It's just like the All-Star Game, and where it's a
By the way,
local...
it's Winnipeg and OT.
Winnipeg.
Hey, that's exciting.
I heard it was a good game.
It was a good game.
It stood on his head or something. But it's a local event for the local people. It's
Yes.
just like the All-Star Game, where we're generating interest in the market. We're going to Saskatchewan. The Saskatchewan fans are going to be happy about this, and it doesn't really matter that people in Toronto, because they're going to be watching the Toronto game.
Yeah, no, 100%. We talked about this with the Montreal-Boston outdoor game a few years ago. It rules to go to, and it sounds like this ruled to go to. The All-Star game rules to go to. Sucks on television.
Yeah.
So why
It's- but
over
it's-
promote something that's not going to be entertaining on TV?
And we
anyways?
were mentioning that around the last All-Star game. I think like we talked. We've had this conversation 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I think it made a lot of sense that we didn't know a heck of a lot about it. Why spend the money?
Exactly.
Why not spend the money? Spend the money in Saskatchewan. Spend the money in Calgary. Spend the money like in Alberta, I guess. Spend the money in Manitoba. But beyond that, one of the biggest problems the NHL has, that baseball now has, is they don't have a lot of bankable superstars. When you look at when I see that the Lakers are going to play Houston, this is coming from a guy who probably watches less than 20 Raptors games a year.
Fair.
I'm still going to try to tune in for at least a little bit of the Lakers versus Houston. You know why? Because I want to see Harden and Westbrook try not to pass to each other. And I want to see LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Danny Green, who randomly is just racking them up. I want to see those stars play each other. I think that's important. Yeah. There are football games that are like that. It's Brady versus.
The interesting thing about the Lakers-Houston game is you have three guys with LeBron, Westbrook, and Harden. I don't know if you want to throw Anthony Davis there and make it four, but you have at least three guys who are more popular than probably the sport of hockey.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Like internationally,
Yes.
just
Yes.
on
Easily.
a cultural level. And those three guys are playing in that one game.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
like, how could you not draw this a massive amount of interest? you know?
100%. And that's
They're not asking Sidney Crosby what he thinks about Hong Kong.
if you were to have
Like,
if the NBA ever did a street ball game, so they set up a court, but it's outside. And I don't know how you do that unless it's in the South in the wintertime. But it would be a really cool event, right? It would be really explosive and big.
Never allow it, but
Well, they might.
they might. Not on concrete, anyway.
No. It would be a typical stadium, but we call it street ball because it's kind of that's how
It'd
those
be
guys.
cool, like if it was a video game.
But
And they have fire.
They have game breakers. Yeah, it's NBA
No,
Street
it's
Volume
okay.
2.
Yeah.
Wait, what was it?
NBA Street Volume 2.
Yeah.
No, I think I just said like a Mortal Kombat thing in the middle of whatever.
The point is, people would tune in for that because there's bankable stars. These are celebrities, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the NHL has that. So in their marketing plan, I think it makes a lot of sense to market to the local markets because they care. If the Leafs had a Ontario Classic between them and Ottawa, and let's say Ottawa's in a better place
How have
too.
the Leafs and Sens not played an outdoor game?
I don't know. Remember, Eugene Melnyk doesn't do well with outdoor games. That's probably why. Oh. Or even Leafs in Montreal. I know. But
how about Detroit twice and Washington?
But if you have, well, that makes sense for the American markets. When you have bankable stars that transcend their market, transcend their league, then it makes sense to advertise nationally. I just don't see that, unfortunately. Like Calgary fans can hate me for this, Winnipeg fans can hate me for this, but you don't have stars on that team that transcend the sport. And I think there's only like two guys who are in this sport that transcend it right now, and that's Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby. And even then, it's only very slightly.
You got to be. This is going to make Canucks fans mad, but try to understand what I'm saying. Elias Pettersson is must-see viewing for hockey fans.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid is must-see viewing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be a fan of hockey at all to look at Connor McDavid go around Justin Braun and go, oh, shit, that's an alien.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Pettersson is just really, really, really sick. I'm not doing a great job of getting this
No,
across.
it makes sense. It's like LeBron. LeBron's a freaking alien. The guy's bigger, stronger, faster than everybody else and has been for 12 years.
LeBron, Kawhi. Basketball fans know how ridiculous Spicy P is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I'm not tuning in just to watch Spicy P.
No. Not if you're in Florida. If you're a Miami Heat fan, you don't care about the Raptors versus the Lakers.
There's no Bucks fans going, woo.
And to go along with the marketing thing, hockey likes being a local sport. Like, they love marketing, hey, we're the local thing.
They kind of have to be.
They have a whole hometown hockey is built around being, hey, we're going to local communities because hockey is your local thing, right?
That's another thing that's fun to go to. I went to it when it was in Oshawa.
Yeah, but
it's fun.
Doesn't make for the best TV, you know? Mm-hmm. TV's entertaining.
Rogers
it's okay.
disagrees. That's just 'cause you work, Bell. Shut up.
Well, I think it's also, and Ron said it best when he was on the show, it belongs on CBC.
Right.
Because CBC
Hometown
in
hockey.
Canada, CBC in Canada is supposed to not, it's a not-for-profit broadcaster. It's there to support Canadian culture.
It is
and
there
that's
to
what
highlight communities like that.
And that's what hometown hockey is. So unfortunately, it's not. It's on Sportsnet, and I think there's a reason with that with the NHL. But he said if I were to do anything, I'd move Hockey Night in Canada away from CBC and put it on Sportsnet because Sportsnet owns the rights, and I would put hometown hockey on Sundays on CBC because that's what the CBC mandate is. I think that the NHL is actually kind of smart in what they're doing with their marketing. If they don't win on a local level, they will not win. They've tried for years to make this seem like this big thing, and then they'll have like the All-Star game and Kid Rock's fucking playing, and you're like, are you serious? They got to win these local markets
Chris
again?
Daughtry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to stop trying to be the biggest sport.
They're not.
Because they're not.
They're not. It's like us trying to go up against Hockey Night in Canada for ad revenue. We are not going to win that battle. We win the small ball, they win the big ball. Does that make sense?
I guess.
Like it's like they're like, okay, you'll pick up the phone and you'll call us. Whereas we're like, hey, we gotta battle for some funding here. And that's the difference. The NHL's got to battle for that funding. Now, speaking of which, Elliot Friedman reported yesterday on Headlines that there is apparently, and they're not commenting on this, a plan in place for a women's hockey league funded and created by the NHL. Now, it would be, quote unquote, the WNHL. But they don't want to get involved, as we suspected, because the NWHL still exists, and they don't want to put anyone out of business. Which I have to say, as much as as far as I know, I don't think it's a good look for the NHL to put anyone out of business. Say what you want about the NHL. There are people that love the NWHL. There are people that hate the NWHL. It's not a good look for the big, bad NHL to put a women's hockey league out of business. It's just not a good look.
The stance they're taking is a fair stance.
I think
it's hard to criticize them when they're trying to protect a league that's already there.
Yeah. Well,
the other side of this is they should have been on this 10 years ago.
Sure,
or earlier.
but
they weren't.
You can't. We don't have a time machines. You know,
right?
You can't. You can criticize them for their past decisions, but now they're doing the right thing.
At least, yeah. Well,
at least from what we're hearing.
Although, like all the people who cover women's hockey, like hardcore, were like, yeah, I'm not over the top stoked about the NHL running that league.
That's what I was trying to say in the interview with,
Right.
like, I was like, are we sure we want the NHL running this?
Yeah.
With Liz Knox. Remember? I said,
Yeah.
are you sure that's what you want? This is a league that's behind on all these issues. And she said, and you go back and listen to the interview, it's a fascinating one. Her answers were, well, the NHL needs a PR win. Support women's hockey.
Liz Knox and Anya Packer, we had them on back-to-back shows, and it was fascinating.
I just think the thing is, you want them to be able to control their own destiny. And if they work with the NHL, they won't necessarily be able to do that. The NHL still has some say, right? However,
I think
they've tried it the other way, and it's not working that way either.
They're there if it's dire. If it becomes
dire.
And I guess it's just not there yet.
I hope that if the NHL does do this, that it is viewed as a separate league with a separate commissioner, with a separate mandate.
And it's the best idea.
Yes.
It's the best idea for everyone involved. Okay, this makes the most sense. Let's go for it.
Right. It's not there as a supplemental to the NHL. It's there as we're doing this because it's important and because we've got to create the sport for both sides. It can't just be one-sided anymore.
I think the most crucial part is just the financial support.
Yes.
That's why people want the NHL to become involved, because if it bleeds money in the first 5 years, they can handle that.
Right.
And it seems like when they're trying to do all these independent leagues, CWHL and NWHL, it's just they can't
Coyotes
back
bled
it.
money for a quarter of a century.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Don't tell me you can't support.
But they
that.
saw
Right.
the value in keeping them.
Right. Because they'd
Exactly.
have lost their TV deal.
And they were right. So,
Well,
taking the lesson from that,
I don't think there's any reason that it can't be profitable. I just don't think it'll be profitable.
Eventually.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it's profitable right away. I think that's any business, though. Most businesses bleed money until they don't. But most businesses aren't like the Facebook movie where it's like, oh, I've got this great idea.
Then I'm gonna steal from
kaboom!
two
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a kaboom, I'm a billionaire.
And then
That
I'm
doesn't
going to
work.
say I started because of the Iraq War, and I wish Facebook was around then, because then the war couldn't have happened.
Yeah,
A
which
thing
is
Mark
gonna
Zuckerberg said last week.
slowly turn into a cannibalistic alien. Did he actually say that?
Yeah, he said that last week.
He said if Facebook was around during the Iraq War, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Sorry to derail this conversation.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
He's
We gotta
a
delay it.
monster.
He's literally the devil. Oh my god.
it was rough. It was a tough watch.
Yeah.
No question. Tough
And he's
watch.
slowly drifting into crazy billionaire haircut.
Oh yeah, he's got the Al Davis Jr. haircut
Yeah.
going on. It's
Yeah.
rough.
Did you see AOC roast him?
No,
as
what did
well?
she say?
That she just gave him the business. She just kept asking questions, and he had no answers. He'd be like, Congresswoman. She'd be like, oh, next question. And then she'd just keep going.
The problem that they're having too is that most of the guys that are elected in the states don't use their email. Like they don't. There is a significant number of congressmen and senators that have never used email because they have assistants to do it for them. They're so old. So it's like
That's crazy.
it's crazy. So it's pretty tough to make laws about something you don't
Yeah.
understand.
You're asking the government to regulate a social media that they've never looked at or used.
They don't
or
understand how it works.
understand. Yeah.
We're getting dangerously close to talking about Rudy Giuliani, and then we'll never get the show
Oh, the
back.
butt dial. Oh my
We'll
God,
never
that
get
was
it back.
great fun.
Nope.
That was great
Nope.
fun. Anyway, back to the.
Never get it back.
Here's where we stand in it, and I think you know this if you heard the interviews. We want women's hockey to not just exist but to thrive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And who cares if it doesn't make money in the first 5 years? Honestly, for the NHL, it's a drop in the bucket. So I'm glad that they have a plan. I don't think it's right to cheer against any league, especially in the precarious nature that the NWHL is supposedly in right now, although they've attracted a lot of sponsorship this year, apparently. I'm not going to root for them to fail, but I'm happy that if they do, the NHL's got a backup plan. But if they don't, things will get better for the women playing in that league. And, they'll get more than one game a week. And they can't even get ice time. Like, it's ridiculous.
Right.
So that's where I hope we get to. And I don't want another generation of professional women's hockey players to go by and have these same fucking problems. That's the problem.
You know what's going to be awesome?
What?
When you and I, Steve, buy Everly Wild jerseys when she's on the Toronto unnamed women's team.
Do you know that she's already wearing her
Skates.
skates? No, she's already wearing her 9-month-old pants. Like we took her to the doctor last week.
She's big, baby.
Yeah, she's 4.5 months, and she's already out lengthening.
Oh no.
Her, and so the doctor said, she's like in the 98th percentile in terms of babies her size this age. We're
Sounds like me.
Yeah, so she's big.
Does she eat a lot?
Oh hell yeah!
No, nice.
Just crushing it.
She's got the wild genes.
Yeah.
When did she start eating solid food?
We're starting her at 6 months.
Okay.
People are back and forth on it. We're just going with what our doctor says because we trust the doctor.
I
Some
was
people
so
start
big,
early, some people don't.
I was a very agreeable baby, but I stopped sleeping and I would get upset all the time and I just couldn't eat enough. And then my Nona, being a Nona, was feed him solid food. And my mom's he's 4 months old. And then she started feeding me solid food and I slept through the night.
Yeah, I'm convinced that as soon as we switch her over to squash and potatoes or whatever, she'll sleep the whole night. I'm convinced.
I want to bring this up.
Panago pizza, you gotta feed her that.
Yes, definitely. Just put it in the blender.
There is a book, a novel.
Ew.
No, make her chew it.
Yeah.
Make her earn her keep. Don't be soft.
And you gotta get cheesy bread too.
What did David Goggins say if you blended Everly's food? There is a book, a novel, called Breaking the Ice by the author K.R. Collins. It is about the first woman to be drafted into not the NHL, but the fictional
Women's league.
equivalent. No.
Oh,
Men's league.
Fictional league? Oh.
But they can't
fictional-
use the rights in the book.
Right.
So they made up, hey, this is the professional hockey league.
Yeah, there is a novel. I received it in the mail. It's currently on the set of Ice Surfing up in the background, right next to this other great book. It's called This Team is Ruining My Life. And I know, it's shocking. I know. But yeah, Breaking the Ice, K.R. Collins. And if you look in the acknowledgments, you'll see the Steve Dangle Podcast.
hey,
Oh,
that's
fun.
cool.
That is pretty cool, eh?
That's really cool. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, by the way. I want to read that book. So
Thank
if we
you,
can get
KR. You're such an author. I should have done SP. Glenn.
SP Glenn.
Yes.
LeoVegas, Matt Sundin Fall Edition. We now have some names that you'll be playing hockey with if you are going to sign up for this. Now, it's leovegas.net. Click on Matt Sundin's jersey, number 13. And by the way, people are like, what's Matt Sundin doing at all of these games? Did you notice that he's wearing a LeoVegas thing?
Yes.
That's what he's doing in all these games. No, he's not going to be the next head coach. Thank you, everybody. He didn't even show up.
Is that a thing?
People were and people were tweeting like, well, is he the next guy to take over? He's going to be a part of the management. He didn't even show up for his jersey retirement, guys. Do you really think he's going to join management? He's done.
He's here just to play with you.
Exactly. Now, Steve Thomas, Nick Kyprios, and Freddie Modine will be joining you.
Kipper?
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And by the way, Kipper, you're gonna man. If you get to play with Kipper,
Oh,
you're gonna have
yeah.
a good time.
Yeah, you'll hear him from several blocks away.
You will hear him from several blocks away when you take the ice, Steve.
Yes. I'll try.
You're gonna
LeoVegas.net for the Matt Sundin hockey experience. Remember, this includes some travel expenses. This includes a party night. You're going to hang at the Delta. You're going to get to play with these guys. There's going to be lots
And it's coming
lots
up
of fun.
real quick.
Yeah.
Like it's in
Couple
3
weekends.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple weekends. Yeah.
2
weeks.
So make sure you're there.
Yeah, get it. Your entries there.
Also, I want to mention the Steve Dangle Podcast will be live at Regulars November 7th. Now, we have a show that week on the 6th, which is a Wednesday, because we do Wednesdays and Sundays now. But this will be a little extra. So Steve Dangle Podcast live at Regulars, downtown Toronto. There's a game that night against Vegas. God save us, because Marc-Andre Fleury has just been unbelievable this year.
Oh, Garrett Sparks shutout at him.
I know! Of
Come
course! But we are going to be there live doing a quick show before the game, so make sure you come armed with books that you want signed, questions that you want to ask, and maybe a rant or two about how the Leafs are doing. Hopefully it's better by then.
We should do like all Q&A.
You want to?
We never get enough Q&A in at these things.
You think so?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny with Q&A, though. I always find that until the first person asks a question, no one wants to ask anything. And then the first person asks it, and everybody goes, oh, okay, I guess it was okay. All right, I got a question.
Yeah.
And then you
Oh,
see
wow,
the questions.
they didn't die. Well, they weren't
It's a
attacked by wild boars.
It's a human thing. I don't know why we're like that, but we're like that.
I was like that in school. Okay, who wants to present first? Not me. I never wanted it to be me. I would always... Did you always strategically try to present after a presentation that you thought would suck?
That's ruthless.
I can tell you that in the band I was
That's
in,
what I
we
did.
never wanted to be the last act because it was always like the headliner.
Yeah.
You always want to go right before the headliner. So if you had a great show, you could blow them off the stage. And if you didn't have a great show, people kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, you're not. Then it's like, okay, you're the
But you
worst.
didn't want to
Yeah.
be the one that people were there to see.
Oh, Adam, you and your leather pants while we underage drank at the bowling alley. You always tore the house down.
What do people have to search on YouTube to go watch that Leather
Nothing.
Pants video?
They don't. It doesn't exist.
What's the name of his band?
The Rebblers at the El Macombo, I think.
Let's try it.
No, let's not.
Come on. Adam, she wanted to fly.
Is that the name of the song?
No, it's 18.
Okay,
is the name
so
of the song.
let's move on. Neutral NHL
Growing
cities.
up in the city.
Apparently, Regina was no. Let's talk about this because no one
Yes.
gives a shit about my old fucking band.
Yeah, they do.
City of
I
Regina,
don't know.
Heritage Classic. Apparently, the city of Regina really got behind this because Steve, what do you always say about Saskatchewan?
There's nothing to do, and everybody's at the nothing.
So this was something.
Yeah.
And John Shannon tweeted, "You gotta wonder what an NHL team in Saskatchewan would look like." And I think that the economics would prevent that from happening. Although you'd have no problem packing an arena in Saskatchewan.
Or even a stadium once.
I don't think you'd have a problem packing the arena for 41 games. I don't.
Really?
I think the issue comes down to it's the people aren't making money. I don't think. I wish that somebody would come down with a breakdown of how much money teams actually make from the gate, and it's very small. It's very, very small. Your gate admissions isn't where you make your money. You're making your money on premium boxes, advertising sales on the boards, things between the periods. If you go to a Tampa Bay game, everything is sponsored. It's the McDonald's door opening ceremony.
Thing.
It's the KFC shift of the game.
Opening ceremony.
Like you go to Tampa, and I don't know if this still exists. They have a Ford grill, so you buy a burger and they burn a Ford logo into it. They
You're
sell.
joking.
I'm not joking. They sell everything because that's how they make their money. That's how they can afford this stuff. And I don't know if that money. Saskatchewan's got lots of money there, but I don't know if the corporate dollars are quite there yet to support that. However, it would be amazing. What I want to get into is neutral market games. So Quebec City's got an arena. Kansas City's got an arena. Houston used to have an NHL team. They have an arena. Places where there are rumors about NHL teams. So imagine 5 years ago, let's say Seattle actually had an arena that could support it. I know the Sonics had their basketball, but I'm not sure that was ever convertible into a hockey rink.
I don't think so.
Imagine that the NHL had gone in and brought in two mega teams and played. And I wonder about how that would go. Like, I would love to see a Quebec City game. I don't know who it would be. It'd have to be Montreal and something.
So Elliot said they tried this about 25 years ago, and they did it all wrong.
Well, that's it.
He said because they do it on like Tuesdays in like weird arenas and nobody to care about
course.
it. But he said now if they try it, it'd be in like Kansas City or in Houston on a Saturday night between two teams in the area that would matter, and it'd 100% work.
I think it'd be fun.
Like it's a win-win situation.
Saskatchewan can support at least a game a year.
Yeah.
Give it to Saskatoon next year. I don't know. Well, I don't know. They don't have the outsource. Whatever. Saskatchewan can support it.
It would fall along the lines of hockey as a local sport. You're going to these other markets and you're trying to just build it locally. And I think it's a win-win.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think the NHL had a good little strategy with Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're going to repeat it with Seattle. And if they continue to do this, they'll grow it on the local level like they need to.
Yeah.
It seems like on that, at least they're on the right track. But I think it's kind of a cool idea. Now, Winnipeg's struggling on defense, although they did win last night. They're cobbling this thing together. I got a question.
I hate that they're able to do it in the Leafs.
I know. But Dustin Byfuglien. So we're a month into the season. Still no sign. Let's say Dustin Byfuglien signs December 1st, just like William Nylander did last year.
He doesn't have to sign. He just shows up.
Sorry, shows up.
He just shows up to work.
That's true because he's under
very
contract.
funny.
He is under contract. If Byfuglien does come back, what is his impact? And that's not to say that Dustin Byfuglien's not a great player, and Dustin Byfuglien's game is admittedly much different than William Nylander's. However, it takes a while, especially at Dustin Byfuglien's age and after his injury history, to get up to speed in the NHL now because it's so much faster than it used to be. My question is, if you've missed training camp and you're missing months of the season, anybody that sits out that long, does it make sense to come back mid-season? Are you going to be able to be... I mean, he'll be more effective than the defense they have just based on his talent. But is it going to be Dustin Byfuglien as we've known him?
Can I make a off the board suggestion as to how you can ease him back into the lineup with controlled minutes? Briefly, make him a forward again.
Oh, he was a good forward.
Remember that? Yeah, it was a wrecking ball.
It was also like almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
It was a very long time ago.
Or
it
sure.
could be fun.
It would be fun for sure.
It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Dustin Byfuglien, the fun thing about him is he could be off his game, and he's still such a unique player in this league. He's the heaviest player in hockey.
And he's got some wheels, too.
For a guy his size, and they will not be there. He's not going to have his breath. There's no way.
Not for the first little bit, anyway.
Oh my God, he'll be sucking wind. Like, you'll have to have him on the third period.
Well, he can't play 30 minutes a night.
No,
not to start.
You might actually kill him, like at that weight. But he's such a unique player that if he hits you, you're falling down. If you hit him, you're falling down.
He's a tree.
Yeah, he's a unique player in that regard. And if he just stands in front of the net and you're trying to do the same thing, he's going to win. So he's a unique player. I think he'll have an impact right away. But they got to manage his minutes hard because there's no way his condition's anywhere near where it has to be.
Right.
You thought Nylander was bad. Nylander was at least jacked the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not ripping on Buff. Like, I know he's in great shape, but there's a big difference between managing Nylander's 195-pound frame,
if that,
and
so like a
Byfuglien
300-pound
when
frame.
He's not on the ice is like 300 pounds. That's wild.
Yeah, that's a lot. And
Wasn't it an ankle problem?
Yeah, and that's the other thing is the injuries he did have. I think he only played like 30 games last year.
Blank concussion.
Yep.
You got the Jamie Alexiak
So you're not
concussion.
going to have the same mobility just based on that. I mean, whatever he had, ankles do take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Even high ankle sprains will have you out for 6 weeks sometimes.
yeah.
But I just wonder, Winnipeg really wants him to come back, understandably so. But at a certain point, and I've said this before, do you just say, listen, Byfuglien, take the year. Take the year, come back. You got another year in your deal. We'll talk in the summer. Mm-hmm. He's an emotional leader. I get it. Like he's a big, big, big part of that team. But if he comes back,
acquisition.
Hell yeah. But if he comes back, is he going to be the piece that they need? Is he going to be him? Is he going to be worth the $7 million cap hit? Prorated.
Well, right. It's like, when a friend at the end of high school tells you, oh, I'm going to take a year off. And you go, well, that's okay if that's the plan you stick to. You know what I mean?
Most who take the year off don't go back.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you? So, like, if he takes the year off with the plan of just taking the year off and he works towards, I'm playing in 2020, 2021, he'll be fine. But with that amount of money, this doc's really nice. Cancun's pretty cool. You know what? Like, you want me to get out there and battle with? I gotta battle with Mark Stone every night, and I gotta chase Nathan McKinnon around the ice, and I gotta somehow get in Connor McDavid's way.
And he's won a cup. He's already done it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I gotta intercept this Leon Draisaitl, and Zach Cassian's bothering me. He's really getting on my nerves.
But then if that's like, and I don't pretend to know his personal situation, but he must know that it does put the team in a bit of a pickle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not his problem, really.
No.
I really hope when he comes back, if he comes back or if he retires, that we get the story. And
Yes.
it's not just, if he comes back, it's not just a copycat hockey player line of, I just need some time to take, I know I'm back here, I'm ready to focus and play. I hope we get some sort of athletic op-ed or Players Tribune
Sportsnet.
op-ed, or a big read from sportsnet.ca.
Hell yeah.
Where it says, like, this is what I was doing with my time, this is what I was thinking about, and this is who I am as a person.
Here's how I've grown from it.
I hope we understand what Byfuglien's going through at this time.
Because it's fascinating.
It is. I'm
think
truly interested.
That's something he's done his whole life, and all of a sudden he's just not walked away, or taken a pause, and you
Yeah.
go,
And then
wow.
if he does walk away completely, I want to hear that,
Yep.
especially.
You'd be amazed what some players go through.
oh, I'm
And we
sure.
never-
That's why we want to
it.
see it.
Yeah. Well, and then
I hope he's willing to share. Is
Me
all
too.
I'm saying.
Me
Yeah.
too. 100% agree.
Penguins traded Gudbranson to the Ducks for Martinsen and a 7th-round pick. You saw everything happen. It's unfortunate the Gudbranson Johnson pairing is now done in Pittsburgh.
Unfortunate for you.
We hardly knew ye, but boy, it was a beautiful thing. And I want to read this tweet from Mike Darnay. The Anaheim Ducks traded Carl Hagelin to the Penguins, who then traded Carl Hagelin for Tanner Pearson, who then traded Tanner Pearson for Eric Gudbranson, who was traded to the Anaheim Ducks.
Just
crazy.
Jim Rutherford being praised for cleaning up Jim Rutherford's mess. And he's trying to get rid of Jim Rutherford's Jack Johnson signing. And Jim Rutherford, is he the most fascinating GM in the NHL?
He's up there.
He's up there.
Well, because if Jim Rutherford stopped making 30% of the Jim Rutherford moves, he would be the best general manager of all time.
He didn't.
He
I
most
can't
of
get
them
over.
He makes bad moves and then makes great moves to make up for the bad moves.
As a Leaf fan, as a fan of a team who never wins shit,
Yeah.
I can't get past the thought process of not liking how you won back-to-back cups. They didn't win back-to-back cups in a way that he liked. It sounds so ridiculous to say out loud. I'm dying to find out how else I should be saying it. They didn't like how they won back-to-back cups, so he just ruined the team. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Yeah, you had to pay Matt Murray. Okay, I get it. Yeah, Vegas basically stole
They
Marc-Andre
fleeced
Fleury.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But, come on.
It was so strange how everybody kept paying Vegas to take the problems when you could just sat back and let Vegas just take the player. It was so weird. What a weird. I wonder if it's the same thing is going to happen with Seattle, or our team's going to learn that, hey, we can just let them pick whoever they want, and we don't also pay the picks on top of the picking.
But that's going to be amazing, though, Jesse, is when teams go, no, and they don't trade with Seattle, and they just get ripped off anyway.
But it's one guy, you know. Instead, and then maybe they guess wrong on the one guy instead of, hey, here's the one guy you were gonna take anyways, plus a first.
Here's Riley.
Like what?
Here's Riley and Marchessault.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
There needs to be a book, a very nerdy book, written about that fantasy draft. It was a fantasy draft.
was.
And they should call it fantasy draft. I would love, 5 years from now when it doesn't matter anymore, I would love to know about the conversations that went into each and every single one of those moves.
They had 3 first-round picks in their first draft. They used those picks to take Cody Glass, a really promising young forward. They got rid of Nick Suzuki, who they converted into Max Pacioretty. And
Brandstrom.
and it should be thrown in there that they spent a first on Thomas Tatar, who they also threw away in the Pacioretty trade, but we'll ignore that for now. And Brandstrom partially converted into Mark Stone,
Yeah.
which I think I'd say that makes up for it.
It's not
He's
bad.
a pretty damn good
But
player.
it's also weird how a team that had literally a 0 salary cap is now in salary cap trouble.
Hell,
Like-
like salary cap.
They-
hell.
How did you manage
They
that
didn't
for
need
yourself?
to do what they did. No, they were good. And if they had just left it, they'd have been really good. And they are really good. But there are some moves there that I go,
There's
some pause.
Yeah.
They're still phenomenal.
At least at the end of it, they have an elite team.
Yeah.
Right?
And they
so
started
you
with an
can't
elite
really
team.
criticize them for that, but they did. Yeah, at the beginning of the summer, they were at like 89 mil.
I told you, the
Like-
biggest mistake they made was not paying Ottawa the extra whatever it took to get Erik Karlsson.
Karlsson.
Because then they pissed that whatever it was, that extra first-round pick, that went to Detroit for Tatar. And they should have just said, you know what? What do you want, Ottawa? We'll give it to you for Erik Karlsson.
I'm starting to disagree with that. I agreed at first.
You don't
they
think
probably win the cup.
that year with the cup with Erik
Yeah, they
Karlsson,
probably
they
win
win
the
the cup.
You're right. They would have won the cup.
Yeah.
I didn't
However-
say sign him to an 8-year deal afterwards.
That deal's horrible. It is so bad. And yeah,
Well,
you're
we're
right.
only 13 games into it, man. So
Do we want to talk about the other news that came out of San Jose on Friday with Patrick Marleau?
with Mike Babcock making the comments he did that he wants to break Gordie Howe's team
There were
record.
a couple things there, Adam.
And also the Matthews issue? about how
so
Matthews
Marleau knew about what happened with Matthews.
during the summer.
Yeah, you got to watch. It might be on Sportsnet. Yahoo Canada was the only place I saw that had the video.
Twitter outlet.
So, I don't know who asked what, but Marleau talked about, learning experience for a young player, all these things that made people super uncomfortable. But the primary focus there is he knew about Matthews' incident from the summer. I don't know who the reporter was who followed it up, but they were basically like, so, sorry, you knew about this? And you just see the wheels immediately start turning in Marleau's head where he's like, oh, shit, I really shouldn't have said that.
Mm-hmm.
It just... I tweeted, I think I'm going to skip gray and go straight to bald.
Yeah. Well, I think Dubas probably feels that way too. Although
he's disrespected. The players don't respect him.
Yeah.
I said it before.
Well, I also think
Dubas?
the agent...
You mean?
They don't respect him.
Dubas. The agent, I think, gave Matthews bad advice.
Yep.
That was not the way to handle that. There was a lot of things bad about that, but in this particular isolated thing, not telling Kyle Dubas, although the agent has doubled down apparently and said, no, this is the right thing. It was not. It was bad advice. He should have come right out and said, I did this thing. It was stupid. I apologize. And she probably would have said, you know what? That was fucking idiotic, but I'll let it go.
She's already said that if it was handled differently, she wouldn't have even...
Exactly.
Yeah.
This
She
is the
said
whole
it.
thing. Like, it's just ridiculous. And
I can't believe it is October 27th, and we're still getting new nuggets about this freaking thing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, part of that is I think you're right. I think there may be a bit of a pervasive culture with the Leafs that there is. I wouldn't call it mistrust, but it's just sort of like, yeah, I can kind of get away with that.
Yeah, they don't like Babcock and they don't trust Dubas.
I don't think it's that they don't trust Dubas. I think it's that they don't feel the need. I don't think it's trust. I think it's respect.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sure they
It's
trust
respect.
Dubas.
My
Why
bad.
wouldn't they trust him?
They don't like Babcock. They don't respect Dubas. They don't. Hey, just hold out and you'll get all the money you want. I'm not going to tell you that I am in trouble with the police.
It's crap. It's crap.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
It's crap.
Yeah. Listen, Matthew should have known better. His dad should have known better. I cannot get past the agent thinking that was the right course of action.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're just reopening. It just reopened it again.
Yep.
And it's probably going to happen again.
And what was the Babcock quote about Marleau?
Oh, he's like, he's playing to beat Gordie Howe's games played.
We
record.
also said when they signed him, they knew that they couldn't keep him for the third year.
Oh,
and that cost them a first-round pick. So when Babs and Lou were pretty tight, and he said when we signed him, like Mike Babcock was really involved in that, and so when that happened, he and Lou were putting the full court press on Marleau to sign, and Marleau's like, you got to give me the third year, otherwise I'm going to stay in San Jose.
Did they ignore Dubas for 4 years and then hire him?
Yes.
Cool.
They let him run the
team.
Marlies.
Good team.
And so, for them to say it's okay that a first-round pick was given up to blow a guy's contract out sucks. Mike, come on. Man, don't say it. Like, don't even say it.
Oh, if you're Dubas, how don't you just rush and just barge through the crowd and just duct tape his head? Like, just immediately.
Yeah.
Shut up, Mike. That should have been it. Like, okay, you want to keep dealing with that? Fine. Like, Shanny, you want to deal with that too? That's cool? Shut that guy up. Oh, my God, this team. Well, I'm sorry. What am I supposed to cheer for exactly?
With that,
I'm exhausted.
let's do a press conference, a real quick one, because we're running late on time.
The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
For real, I'm supposed to be excited and cheering for what? They're not winning games, so in absence of that, what?
Man, listen.
What?
You're right.
I know.
It's frustrating. We're all frustrated.
Uh-huh.
But it can't be, to me, it's still in my brain. And if I tell you this, you're going to hate me. But the Leafs are third in the division. They're in a playoff spot securely. Cody Ceci has positive possession numbers this year. Mitch Marner is still leading the team in goals. Matthews is still second
scoring.
or third Matthews is still leading the team in goals and is second or third in the NHL in goals. Marner's leading the team in points. Tavares is out. Dermott's out. Hyman's out. Got some new players. You got 9 new players on the roster. So that's the other side of it.
And we haven't practiced. That was the other one. We haven't had a chance to expose the players to the depths of my brilliance.
Well, wait a second. No, but they had an entire training camp. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Is that what he said? He didn't say that.
He said he is right that because of their schedule, they haven't had like a proper practice.
They have
in God knows
a
how long.
pregame skate. What the hell do they need to practice for? They have skate in the morning. What are you practicing?
Dude, they're not good enough.
Larvitar Candy on our Reddit page wants to know, when are you guys going to do a live podcast in the UK?
Oh my God. I would love that.
Oh, that'd be
This summer.
amazing.
What?
I'd love to.
No, Listen, we can work towards it. I want to do it. I'm in the UK every 2 years anyway.
We need, no kidding. We need, the problem, quite frankly, and this isn't a call for money, but we do not have the money to bring it over.
Yeah.
It would cost
thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And
we can't just do that.
Not just
casually.
thousands, tens of thousands, because we got to get there. We got to bring equipment. We got to clear it through customs. By the way, you can't just show up with a bunch of podcast equipment. You have to bring that through customs. You have to go You have to go a month early to get your permits for it and everything.
If we brought nothing except for just ourselves,
it's still a work
slept
trip.
on the street, it would still cost us $4,000.
Yeah, because have to find a global sponsor who'd be willing to work with us on that one. But maybe Nike's like, we need more hockey in the UK.
It's ambitious.
I do though. I still want to buy, and I haven't had the chance to because of having a kid and that sort of thing, and not having a whole bunch of extra. I do want to buy a Great Britain hockey jersey. They are the coolest jerseys going.
And
we know it. They're amazing. But I'd love to. It's just right now, money's just not there to do it. If it came to the point where we could reach out to I know the British Ice Hockey Association follows us all. We probably could reach out to them and come to some sort of thing. We'd love to. And you know what would be really fun is if we were able to go at a time when the season's on and we were able to do like YouTube videos and talk about the actual league over there, because I think it'd be fascinating. I'd love to do that in Australia. I'd love to do that around the NHL, or around the world with various leagues, Switzerland, Sweden, whatever. But yeah, money's the biggest issue, quite frankly. We all Steve and I love the UK. Jesse, you've never been there yet, have you?
No, never. I've never been overseas anywhere.
It's great. It's so great, except for the Brexit thing. Yeah, but the actual place is amazing.
Yeah.
I want it to be emceed by the guy who goes, Order!
One day.
Who is that guy?
The guy the Speaker of the House. One day we will be able to go over there. I'm convinced about that. We just need to find the proper avenue to do it. Yeah. That's all.
We'll find it.
Yeah, we will.
Update from the Joker steps that I said were a bad idea to go at. A new video surfaced throwing eggs at tourists who wanted to take some pictures at the staircase where Joker does his famous dance. So,
oh wow!
So don't go to those steps, people.
Jesus
Please
Lord.
stop doing that.
I'd like to read a DM if I can. Oh, got it this morning from Cameron Hufflin.
Diaz. Oh, Hufflin.
Yeah. Incredibly sappy DM coming in, but I had to send it. I've been an SDP listener since the show started, and I was in high school. Yikes! It has been. This is our 7th season.
Long time.
Currently backpacking Europe solo for a few months, and it's incredibly fun, and I'm learning lots, but sometimes it can get exhausting and lonely, and I just wanted to say having the podcast to listen to and be able to look forward to helps me through those really rough homesick patches and is really special and a guaranteed pick-me-up. Saved the last episode to listen to on my birthday yesterday, which was really fun. Anyway, I don't have a point other than I just wanted to drop in a DM and say it's awesome what you guys do, and it's so incredibly appreciated. So thank you so much for being so cool for so many years. And I have to say, first off, Cameron, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Cameron. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. It's your birthday, Cameron, yeah. It's your birthday,
Keep going,
Cameron,
Jesse.
yeah.
I don't know these songs.
It's your birthday day.
Jesse's birthday song.
That's the birthday
I'm sitting
song.
there like,
Where does he go with this? Where's he going?
No, that's the official birthday song.
Is it?
Yeah. National birthday song of Canada. Look
We
it
do
up.
birthdays different here.
Yep.
And then it's like birthday song. Yeah.
No, it's like the South Park. What is it?
Going down the birthday, gonna have
Imagination Land.
Imagination.
Imagination.
We were talking about that in the studio
Yeah.
at Virgin the other day. That has to be the 3 best episodes of South Park all time.
Yeah, if you're gonna take any 3-episode run, it's probably
It's that.
those 3 episodes.
I think it's the
Black
best
Friday is pretty good,
episode
too.
of all time. If it's 3 episodes in one, it's the best episode they've ever done.
Really like Black Friday, but yeah.
Black Friday's very funny.
Oh
also very
yeah, that's the PS4 Xbox War
yes.
run. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a close.
In the
That's a
recent-
close
If
one.
anyone thinks that you're gonna beat me inside that mall, just cut some promo on the news.
That's really good.
Man, that's funny. That's really funny.
What were we talking about? Happy
Oh, birthday! It's your birthday, Cameron. Yeah. Oh shit.
Are you okay, Steve? What happened?
I got caught up in our very expensive equipment.
All right.
Are we good?
Was that the end of the DM?
That was the end of the DM.
Oh, okay.
So happy birthday, Cameron. And by the way, I
Happy
wanted to
birthday,
say
Cameron, yeah.
this is to everybody that ever drops me a DM. I can't read them all, but I get them all the time. Other than hatred from Penguins fans and every other fan base. Penguins fans have been amazing, by the way.
Basically trash.
I do want to say we get amazing messages like that all the time, and I don't think we get the chance to thank everybody because we are literally flooded, and just want you to know that means a lot to us. We don't take that for granted. The fact that you make time for this show in your life, it's a big commitment time-wise. It's a lot of show. The fact that you make time for us means the world to us. So we might disagree on hockey opinions, but one thing that we are really appreciative of is the fact that you will listen to this show. We are so glad that you're along, and that's for Cameron and for everybody else that's ever sent us a DM. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I mean, I get DMs too. I just don't feel the need to, flaunt them on the
Oh,
podcast.
God.
It's okay, Adam. You're just like a really great guy.
I'm just trying to
I
thank
get it.
people.
No, yeah, Adam's a great guy. He's also, more importantly, he's better than us.
Apparently
I
I'm a
already
bad
knew that.
person
Is
for
he? Yeah.
saying thank you.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I
Steve, final question.
just want to be an asshole.
This is also from our Reddit page. This is from O'Mila.
Okay.
O'Mila wants you to let Hat Guy do a full LFR.
Ooh.
He's close.
Will you let him do that?
I mean, listen, rather than talk about how... So, here, wait. Let me look this up. When's the Leafs' next back-to-back? Because rather than just complain about they did the thing that they always do again,
Right.
I mean, when the Leafs lose that game, and they will, I'll just let Hat Guy do it. Why not? Why not? Here, what do we got? So we got their next backup is Saturday, November 9th, they play Philly, and then Sunday, November 10th, they play Chicago. So when the Chicago Blackhawks beat the Toronto Maple Leafs on November 10th,
Can you let Hat Guy do the full LFR?
he'll do the whole thing.
Is that a promise?
Yeah, when Michael Hutchison gets shelled with 43 shots at the United Center. Yeah, sure. He
right.
can just do the whole thing. Listen,
No, you have
Nothing
to
matters.
You have to commit to this.
okay.
If the Leafs lose against Chicago on the 10th on their back-to-back, that night's LFR, which will be, we'll do a podcast that day, and then the game will happen, and then
Oh, God.
then you'll probably come out Monday.
Yeah.
Hat Guy has to do that full LFR if the Leafs lose.
Since
All right.
nothing matters, since absolutely nothing matters,
All right.
but listen, if no one's going to change it up, I might as well.
Remember, the Leafs need to win for Steve.
They do. You're joking. No one watching this thinks that's a bad idea.
Mike, if you're watching this, please coach for Steve's specifications.
Coach the way that I want you to. Specifically, I'm really smart.
We will see you guys Wednesday when we have exactly one game to fret about, and then Sunday next week when we'll have another game to fret about. There are only 2 Leaf games this week.
Wow.
We'll have to spend time with our families. Boo.
God, it's so weird. Ugh.
I'm okay with it.
Me too.
It's less depression.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness. Connection complete.